command.
Here at the start-finish line is the lady that will give the command to start the second running of the Brickyard 400. Chairman Emeritus of the Board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mrs. Mary F. Hallman.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Well, it's the first time ever in the history of Indianapolis Motor Speedway that the engines and cars have actually been started over in the garage area. But that's because of the diligence being shown by both NASCAR and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today, as they have battled rains that have swept through this area throughout the entire day. Now, late in the day, they are ready to go racing. The cars back in the garage area, the balloons are flying, and we are ready here at Indianapolis as the cars begin to roll. So as they head out through what used to be Winner's Circle here, there is the 24 car, the pole sitter of Jeff Gordon. And the crowd couldn't be happier. So now they will form behind the Chevrolet Pace truck as they roll out, and we're ready for 400 miles of racing. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. On the pole, the 24 car of Jeff Gordon, the defending Brickyard 400 champion. He's won 5 races already in '95. Alongside the 43 car of Bobby Hamilton. This equals his best starting position ever for the 1991 Rookie of the Year. In row 2, Sterling Marlin. All 3 of his wins this year have come on super speedways, and he trails Jeff Gordon in the points fight by only 78 points. Alongside is Bill Elliott, a third-place finisher in last year's Brickyard 400. Row 3, Bobby Labonte, a 2-time winner this year, was one of those coming in a wheel-to-wheel shootout at Michigan with Jeff Gordon. Joe Nemechek is alongside. He had his best finish of the year just 2 races ago at Pocono. Row 4 to the inside, Michael Waltrip. His best finish this year was a 3rd in May at Charlotte. And Jeremy Mayfield. This is his best career starting position. In row 5 to the inside is Rick Mass, last year's Brickyard pole sitter. And Ken Schrader, at number 25, is outside. His best finish this year came in the first race at Pocono, where he finished 3rd. In row 3, Dick Trickle and Brett Bodine. In the 7th row, Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin. In row number 8, Terry Labonte and Greg Sachs. In row 9, Bobby Hillen and Jeff Burton. The 10th row is Ted Musgrave and Darrell Waltrip, the winningest active driver on the circuit. Row 11, Robert Presley and Ricky Rudd. In the 12th row, John Andretti and Rusty Wallace. Row 13, Jeff Bodine and Dale Jarrett. The 14th row, Blake Speed and Ricky Craven. In row 15, Hud Strickland and Ward Burton. Row 16, Kenny Wallace and Kyle Petty, a winner earlier this year at Dover. The 17th row, Morgan Shepherd and Todd Bodine. The 18th row, Jimmy Hensley and Rich Bickle. In row 19, Derek Coates and Jimmy Spencer. And then the provisional starters in row 20, Steve Grissom and Mike Wallace. And in the 21st row alone is Elton Sawyer. Now, ready to call the second ever Brickyard 400, the best team there is in NASCAR. Here's Bob Jenkins and Benny Parsons.
And the field comes down the main straightaway for the completion of their first warm-up lap. We're not real sure what the situation is here, Benny. Whether or not they're going to go under yellow for a while, we'll just have to wait and see. It's too bad that we missed all the pomp and circumstance that would build up to the live call, the live thing, the start of the race, but nevertheless, the point is the cars are out there and we're ready to go racing.
2 more laps and we'll see the green flag, and these cars will be racing down into turn 1. Now you see the 2 pace trucks. You see the gap in the field. These pace trucks, since there's been very little practice, they were leading these cars around at pit road speed to give the drivers, or RPM set it for pit road speed.
Let's get a report from Jackaroo.
Well, Bob, maybe we've missed the pomp and circumstance, but these crews behind me are extremely excited. Now, I talked to Ray Evernham, the crew chief for the pole sitter, Jeff Gordon. I said, with the time situation, do you think you can go the full 160 laps? He said, no, we are going to plan on an 80-lap race. NASCAR rules allow a race to be called official if it passes the halfway mark. This crew, the pole sitters crew, says they're going to try and make it to 80 laps. The change for them, they are going to push their fuel window, their first stop, as far forward as possible. Try and get as much laps as they can before they come in for pits. And fuel. Jerry Punch, fuel will be an issue today.
You're exactly right, Jack Root. In fact, many teams realize that fuel economy may be as important as horsepower in a race. It's not how fast you go, but how far you go. And remember, in NASCAR Winston Cup stock car racing, there are no onboard computers. How do they calculate it? Well, it's quite simple. You have to have a scale like we have here. You put this 11-gallon fuel can on the scale. It's attached to a digital meter here at the Dale Earnhardt pit. The digital meter reads 78.45 pounds. That is full of fuel. You put the fuel in the car, you take the difference, divide by 6 pounds per gallon, and you know how much fuel you're using, and you have to calculate precisely this little baby right here, critical if you're to make it for 40 laps and maybe a one pit stop race if they go just halfway. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
And why are they so concerned about fuel and all of these other things, Jerry? Well, you talk about grand incentive. They have it here in the Brickyard. Remember the hype on the hoopla last year? A record NASCAR Winston Cup purse at $3.2 million. Consider, right now, $4.5 million. That's an increase of 1.3 over a year ago. What does that mean? Last place is going to be worth close to $50,000. The winner should get somewhere around $600,000 plus. With that kind of money, will these guys take extra risks? We're about to find out as the second Brickyard 400 is at hand. Bob?
In one more lap, we will get the green flag and be racing for hopefully 160 laps of competition.
Bob, I just hope that these drivers haven't been in those motorhomes and those trucks watching television and thinking of winning $600,000 and trying to do it too soon. That's the concern that you have after a delay like this, is someone taking an unnecessary chance.
Jeff Gordon qualified at a record 172.536 miles an hour, a $3.9 million purse plus the contingencies. And the field moves through turn number 1. Next time they move by here, they will be at race speeds, hopefully. The weather isn't too bad right now. In fact, it's sunny at the north end of the racetrack. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the NASCAR Winston Cup point standings over Sterling Marlin. Dale Earnhardt is third, 146 points behind. Mark Martin is fourth, and Ted Musgrave is fifth in the point standings, 6 through 10. Morgan Shepherd, Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, and Bill Elliott.
We can see that the light is out atop the pace truck. That means that the next time by, the green flag will be waved. Now we see the cars back and forth, back and forth. There's a piece of debris on the racetrack. A worker runs out, grabs it, will not slow the proceedings down. Cars weaving back and forth, getting those tires, those sidewalls flexed as much as they possibly can before the green flag.
The crowd is far less than capacity, but nevertheless, when you have seating capacity of almost 300,000, there is a good crowd on hand here for the Brickyard 400.
In about 50 laps, it will be capacity as these people are running, practically running to get back to their seats to watch this race.
Now entering turn number 4, and the crowd has risen to its feet, saluting the drivers as they come around, just about to mash the accelerator and start on 400 miles of competition. The pace truck, driven by Elmo Langley. We're watching to see if it pulls off the racetrack. Yes, it does. Now the field is under the control of the pole sitter, Jeff Gordon. He's looking for the green flag from Doyle Ford. There it is. The race is on. Last year, the pole sitter, Rick Mass, led the first 2 laps, and then Jeff Gordon took over. Gordon, of course, starts from the pole this year. Let's see if he can lead the first lap. Down the backstretch, they fan out, and Michael Waltrip tries to make a move on Bobby Labonte. But up front, it is Jeff Gordon leading Sterling Marlin as they head for turn number 3.
Bill Elliott in the Downs car, in close tow with Marlin. And Michael Waltrip able to get by Labonte to take over that 6th spot.
Gordon leads everyone else off of corner number 4. Here they come for the completion of lap number 1. And Jeff Gordon will lead the lap. That's his 6th straight lap of competition led here at Indianapolis, including the 5 he led at the end of last year. And he has led in 18 of the 19 races that have been held so far in the 1995 NASCAR Winston Cup Series. The only race he has not led was on the road course at Sonoma. Now separating Sterling Marlin by about 4 car lengths as once again they go down the backstretch. Elliott continues to run in 3rd. Bobby Hamilton, the outside front row starter, is in 4th position, and then Joe Nemechek.
Hamilton has closed up right on the back bumper of Elliott. Elliott has tried to get by Sterling Marlin a couple times, not able to do it. Here comes the 43 car, the STP Pontiac, trying to get by us. He has him, Bob.
Hamilton got a good run off of corner number 4, cut to the left, went to the inside of Bill Elliott, and takes over 3rd position.
And Michael Waltrip was able to get by Nemechek to move him up into 5th spot. Now Labonte looks on the inside of Nemechek.
In-car camera with Michael Waltrip. Down this long back straightaway.
Let's see how early he backs out of the gas as he goes into turn 3. Up.
They're 3 wide going into 3. Now get back into single file.
That's Kenny Schrader, the red Budweiser Chevrolet. Guys, the Railbird's telling me his car is very, very fast, Bob.
There's Joe Nemechek, followed by Bobby Labonte in the 18 car. Jeff Gordon continues to lead, now stretching the advantage by about 4 car lengths. Bobby Labonte looking to the inside of Joe Nemechek at the end of the straightaway, decided not to make the move. We're beginning to see 2 packs form, Benny. The first 5 are running together, and then a little bit of racetrack back to the second pack. And that is Joe Nemechek, Bobby Labonte, Rick Mast, Ken Schrader,
Dick Trickle, and Dale Earnhardt. So right now, Earnhardt running in the 11th spot.
And here is the in-car camera with Dale Earnhardt. Dick Trickle just ahead.
Closes up right on the back bumper of Trickle. Now lets the car move up. Trickle's back end wiggle just a little bit as he got the car loose off turn 1. Now here's where Earnhardt needs to pass if he can. But see, Trickle squirts away from him just a little bit off the second corner.
Trickle got a good jump on the second corner as they go down the back stretch now, and he separates himself from Dale Earnhardt by a little bit. Now Bobby Labonte once again trying to take the position from Joe Nemechek. That would be for 6th.
Walking across those short shoots, Bob, it would seem like it would take forever, but at 160, 70 miles an hour, it doesn't take these cars long.
There are the top 5. Michael Waltrip in 5th position at the moment. Then this group of cars, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. At the front of this group, Joe Nemechek. At the back, Dale Earnhardt. Understand that Jeff Gordon has been told to watch the tires. He is pulling away from Sterling Marlin. So Gordon in a race of his own at the moment, leading the Brickyard 400. He has led the first 5 laps ahead of Sterling Marlin, Bobby Hamilton, and the others. Back in a moment.
I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ESPN Speed World special presentation of the Brickyard 400 is brought to you today by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. By Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings. By General Motors Service Parts Operations and their GM Goodwrench and AC Delco Automotive Service Parts. And by Chevrolet. One car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR, genuine Chevrolet. 7 laps completed at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Jeff Gordon is still the leader, Bob Jenkins.
And as a matter of fact, he is pulling away from Sterling Marlin and the others. We talked about tire wear earlier. Another report on that from Jack Arute.
Well, Bob, you mentioned the radio report from the crew to Jeff Gordon about conserve your tires. They are in a conservation mode right now, trying to conserve fuel, trying to conserve the tires because the tires will heat up and start to drop off. More importantly, they've also radioed out to remind Jeff Gordon to turn and use the brake blowers if he gets on the brakes too hard. They've got a cooling system for the brakes because you use them up here at Indy.
He's pulling away from Sterling Marlin at the rate of about 0.2 a lap, Benny. It's up to 1.8 seconds at the moment.
There we see Sterling Marlin, the second-place car. And there's our leader, as you said, pulling away from the second-place car.
Now this second group is led now by Bobby Labonte. While we were away for commercial, he was able to pass Joe Nemechek. Look at Bill Elliott go inside, try to get inside.
You mean Kenny Schrader?
Schrader, yes. Trying to get inside of Rick Mast, unable to do so. Gary Gerald has a report on Darrell Waltrip, who's having his problems.
Yeah, he faltered, Bob, and they think here in the crew in the pit that perhaps it was a victim of the rain that may have gotten some water into one of the ignition boxes. They have a pair on board. They switched, and the alternate seems to be working. They think the problem's taken care of. But at the same time, we're getting spits of rain here in the Waltrip pit.
Not something that we wanted to hear. Rain has plagued us all day long. We had hoped that it would stay away for the rest of the afternoon. Sunshine is the order of the day at the north end of the racetrack. But, of course, this 2.5-mile track is spread out so much that you can't have sunshine in one area and rain in another.
Earnhardt is not able to get by Dick Trickle, not able to make that patented charge that we're so familiar with Dale Earnhardt. There's his in-car camera. We saw a few laps ago. He was right on the back bumper of Dick Trickle. Now he's a car length or so back.
Jeff Gordon, meanwhile, stretches out his advantage to over 2 seconds now as we watch Dale Earnhardt, the 7-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion, going for a record 8th championship in 1995. Right now, he's tied, of course, with Richard Petty with 7 crowns. There you can see the interval now between first and second as Bill Elliott has 3rd position, Michael Waltrip and 4th, and then Bobby Hamilton. Jerry Punch has a report.
As you watch that second draft behind Jeff Gordon, those 4 drivers are communicated among their crews and said, look, we know we probably can't run with Gordon right now, but if we dice among ourselves, we will not be able to run away from that draft coming up behind us. The likes of the car number 18 and 87 of Bobby Labonte and Joe Nemechek. They've opted to stay single file. That's those 4 cars, the 4, 43, 94, and 30, in hopes of pulling away from that draft behind them. Bob?
Right now, the 43 car seems to be struggling, Bob. Bobby Hamilton, the STP car, has fallen back to 5th place and seems to be struggling to keep up with these cars.
Hamilton, the surprise of qualifying, putting himself on the outside of the front row, but having trouble here in the race.
Elton Sawyer already having some problems with his car. It sounds awful as he goes down the front straightaway like he's missing a couple of cylinders.
Bill Elliott runs in 3rd. Michael Waltrip and then Hamilton. Here comes Bobby Labonte and this second group. Labonte is pulled away from this second group, which now is headed by Joe Nemechek with Mast right behind, and then Kenny Schrader.
Wow. Rick is trying to get a grab, trying to get a slingshot. When he pulls out, he just can't keep the momentum going. Here he's going to try to outbrake him going in the corner. Fortunately, his brakes worked very well.
And we talked to several drivers during the practice and qualifying, Benny, and all of them admitted, yes, drafting is very definitely a factor here at Indianapolis.
These cars are running 190 miles an hour at the end of these straightaways, the front and the back straightaways.
Nemechek able to hold off the charge at the moment as Rick Mast just cannot find the opportunity to get around.
Now, who's the sponsor on Nemechek's car?
Burger King.
All right.
Now Mast looks again. I don't think he's got it this time.
He's still trying. He's going to try to outbrake him.
Oh, once again, it's close going into the third turn, but Nemechek holds the position. And all of this is in view of Ken Schrader.
Turn 4, the car for extra. Look at the fans on both sides of the racetrack. When you hear the drivers talking about driving down the tunnel at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that's what they're talking about. All those people on both sides of the straightaway.
Rick Mast led the first 2 laps last year from the pole position and then dropped a cylinder on the third lap and wound up in 22nd position. Right now he is hanging in there in 8th spot. And this time, Rick Mast will make no attempt to take over that position from Joe Nemechek. So 14 laps have now been concluded. It's Jeff Gordon followed by Marlin, Elliott, and Waltrip. We'll be right back with more from Indianapolis. Back at Indianapolis and watching the battle for second and third position. Jeff Gordon has the lead at the moment. In second is Sterling Marlin, followed closely by Bill Elliott and Michael Waltrip.
I tell you, Bob, it's really confusing how these cars are going and coming. Michael Waltrip looked like a moment ago he was struggling to keep up with these cars. Now it looks like that Sterling Marlin and Bill Elliott are holding up Michael Waltrip.
There's the view that Michael Waltrip has of Elliott and Marlin. Sterling Marlin, of course, second in the point standings. He has won 2 races this year, both of them on super speedways at Darlington and Talladega.
Elliott letting the car drift out as he exits turn 1, almost in the concrete barrier. This is an engine, brand new engine in Elliott's car. He has not tried the engine here. They put it in yesterday afternoon. He felt like that the car did not come off the corner well enough. He wanted some more acceleration on the bottom end. They put the Pocono qualifying engine in. A real roll of the dice on the Elliott team.
And Gary Gerald has a report on Bill Elliott.
Bob, this team had some drama as they rolled onto the racetrack from Gasoline Alley. There was a sudden flurry of activity. The radio wasn't working in Elliott's helmet. They brought a substitute helmet in. They had to redo the entire package, and they had to do it in like 3 minutes. I got a quick word with Ernie Elliott. He said, yes, we did get it done. We think everything's all right there. But I'll tell you, the adrenaline was flowing early for Elliott and his team.
Saw there that lap was 164 miles an hour for Bill Elliott. The fastest race lap ever run here was on the 68th circuit of last year's Indianapolis Brickyard 400 at 170.674. We understand that Jeff Gordon now is complaining to the crew that the car is beginning to get a little loose, but you wouldn't know it, Benny. He's still got a sizable lead on Sterling.
But that lead is maintaining. I don't know if Jeff Gordon is backing up to these guys or just simply taking it easy right now. It's hard to figure out. But these cars have not run this long since they've been here this many laps because been very little practice because of the rain.
Now let's see if Bill Elliott, nope, he drove to the inside of Sterling Marlin and took a look, dropped back behind him. So they continue to run in the same order, second, third, and fourth. There's Bobby Hamilton in fifth. Bobby Labonte is next in sixth position.
It looks to me like he might be gaining on the whole crowd. He might have the fastest car right now.
Labonte broke away from a second group of cars and is indeed catching Bobby Hamilton. There you have the first 6 cars, and here comes now the second group, which still is being led by Joe Nemechek. And a good run for Joe Nemechek so far.
It's a great run by Nemechek. That's a 7th place car, Nemechek. Mast is in 8th. Kenny Schrader, the Bud car, the red car, is in 9th. Never see a good look at Joe Nemechek.
Joe Nemechek last year started in 30th position and finished in 20th. There's our shot from the Bud blimp hovering overhead of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on what now is a sunny Saturday afternoon in the capital city of Indiana. After a day of solid rain, the track finally dried and the Brickyard 400 got underway about 4 hours later than scheduled. But as Benny said, and as you can see as the cars go around the racetrack, the stands are beginning to fill up. When the race started, there were lots of empty seats, but now the fans have made their way to watch the remainder of this race.
Okay, this is turn 3. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, flat corner, bank about what, 6-8 degrees?
9 degrees.
9 degrees, cars breaking the corner, very short shoot across the turn 4. Now they'll come down to the start-finish line and that tunnel that we're talking about. And there's a car slow. Once again, that's the 27 car of Elton Sawyer. This is the tunnel I talked about. All the people, right and left, of the drivers as they come down this long front straightaway, down into turn 1. Once again, on the brakes hard.
The amazing thing, Benny, when you look at this racetrack is, imagine this thing being built in 1909 with the first 500-mile race in 1911. That's older than you are.
At least. Older than you and I put together, probably.
Here's Nemechek in 7th, then Mast and Schrader. Joe Nemechek's best finish of the year was a 9th in the second Pocono race. Well, what's the status about Dale Earnhardt? Let's check up on that in the pit area with Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, as we expected with the rain washing rubber off the racetrack, a lot of drivers are complaining about their cars being very tight. Now, a tight race car means it sticks going in the corner, but it will not turn coming off, and that was the problem a moment ago, and we have been told that Dale Earnhardt has brushed the wall. Remember, a year ago, he smacked it pretty well on the first lap in turn 4. This was a minor brush, we are told by the crew, but he and Bobby Hamilton and a couple others running toward the front are having a terrible time with a push, getting the car to turn. Bob?
So history repeats itself here at Indianapolis. Earnhardt brushed the wall in the first turn, turn 4 last year, and has apparently done the same thing again, running in 11th position. And Benny, that interval between first and second is tightening up.
That's what I was thinking. It looks to me like it's Sterling Marlin is getting just a little closer to Jeff Gordon than he was before.
Remember, we heard that Jeff's car was a little bit loose in the corner, so maybe he has had to back off because, yeah, it's down to 1.7 seconds interval.
And before it was about 2 seconds. So he is getting a little bit closer. And Elliott right there, right in the tracks of Sterling Marlin.
The number 27 car of Elton Sawyer has gone to the garage area. If, of course, he cannot come back, he will be the first out of this year's race. Jimmy Spencer was the first out last year in the same car.
What I was afraid of certainly didn't happen, Bob. I was afraid of these fellows would sit in those trucks and get all hyped up and start this race and try to do something that they couldn't do, not capable of doing. But obviously, they're all trying to keep their head and keep these cars straight and adjust as go along and race that last 100 miles as hard as they can.
And I don't think anybody right now is thinking about this being a half-distance race. Everybody is thinking about it going to the conclusion. Well, the interval went back up to 1.9 seconds. Let's go to Jack Arute, who's with Elton Sawyer.
Well, the crew is working on Elton's car right now, trying to get him back in the race. But let's talk about race conditions out there. What's the track like, Elton?
Well, right now the track seems to be fine. You know, we've got some kind of, we thought it was ignition, but evidently it's not. We've got a dead cylinder. It's unfortunate for the Hooters Ford. You know, we were hoping for a good day, but the guys will work hard to try to get back out and get as many laps as we can.
That's the importance of points, gentlemen. You got to get back out there and try and do your duty.
Elton Sawyer, of course, was second in the Kroger 200 last night, the Busch Grand National race at Indianapolis Raceway Park, after starting from pole.
Bill Elliott almost lost it a couple of laps ago, a couple of corners ago, and looks like he fell back a few car lengths, but now seems to have everything back under control.
Riding with fourth place Michael Waltrip, the first turn. There's our Delco telemetry, the miles per hour on the left and the RPMs on the right.
Well, as a fan, I like to watch miles per hour. As a competitor, I'd watch RPMs, but right now I'm a fan, and we'll watch as Michael accelerates down the back straightaway, 170, and Bill Elliott is trying to get on the inside of Sterling Marlin, 185, 6, 7, 8, 190 miles an hour going in turn 3.
Just like you said, they reach about 190 at the end of the straightaways. Then the speed drops down in the 150s. Here's the acceleration over the short chute, about 170, and now on the brakes again in turn 4.
Ooh, those guys must have really missed the corner. And look at Michael Waltrip go by Elliott.
Michael to the inside of Bill. He passes him and sets his sights on second place, Sterling Marlin.
I think something happened to Sterling, and Bill Elliott had to check up, and that's why Michael got such a run on him. I think Sterling got loose coming off turn 4.
Good run from Michael Waltrip, who has never won a NASCAR Winston Cup event. He is third in the early stages of the Brickyard 400.
And there is a report now that somebody has lost a belt out there, and they have been telling the crews, talk to your guys, check, make sure they're okay.
So if the belt is on the racetrack, it could cause a caution. We have found Dale Earnhardt touching the wall. We heard about it earlier. We are riding with him right now on his in-car camera. Again, this is Dale Earnhardt live. Now, here is the tape, and let's watch it, Benny, to see where we can find out where it is. Right there.
He came off the corner. I guess that was a short shoot, wasn't it?
Between 1 and 2.
Yeah. Now we see Mark Martin has moved up alongside Earnhardt, trying to take that spot away. He does. Moves into 11th place with Mark Martin.
Mark Martin with the new paint job on the Valvoline Ford. They'll go back to their regular paint scheme, we understand, for next weekend's race at Watkins Glen, New York, that we will have live coverage of here on ESPN. So Mark Martin has moved to 11th position, and Dale Earnhardt is in 12th. Jeff Gordon is your leader after 26 of 160 laps in the second Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Chevy, Ford, Pontiac. Bobby.
Okay. Yep.
Who's that strange voice?
It's rules business before this first round of pit stops.
I was just talking to the guys here. Occasionally we'll have those pieces of information there.
That was a mighty good piece of information there.
Good stuff. It's neat. Who would have ever thought?
Okay. Sterling got loose again. Here's Michael trying to get by.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 400, Marlin got loose again, Benny, and this time he lost 2 positions as Michael Waltrip goes to second and Elliott to third.
I tell you what, Michael Waltrip saw that. He dove to the inside, and Elliott came with him. Sterling is having some trouble getting off turn 4. Now here comes Elliott on the inside of Michael Waltrip. We heard Michael get out of the gas just a little bit as the car pushed off the corner, gave Elliott the run he needed. There he goes.
To the inside of Michael Waltrip in the backstretch, and Bill Elliott has moved to second position. NASCAR wants parity. We have a Chevy running first, a Ford running second, and a Pontiac is third, and another Chevy in fourth. Here's Jack Arute on with a report on Sterling Marlin. Jack.
Well, guys, he's got a serious push, so much so that they've moved their pit stop sequence up by about 3 laps. Expect Sterling Marlin to hold on and come in 5 laps from now. The push condition that Jerry Punch alluded to has befallen the 4 of Sterling Marlin.
We expected routine pit stops, what, about 35 laps in, Benny, something like that?
We're talking about Jeff Gordon trying to move his to make it a 1 stop. But that's, you got to go 40 laps. I just don't see any way in the world that you can run 40 laps here on this racetrack without stopping for fuel. And you don't want to run out of gas at Indianapolis, especially on the front straightaway.
Benny, one of the movers so far in this race has been Rusty Wallace. He started in 24th position, and now he has moved up to 11th.
We see he's been able to get by Trickle, Mark Martin. So Rusty Wallace had said all along that his car was running well. He just made a mistake in qualifying. Look at the progress he's making. 24th, 18th, 13th, 12th, and now 11th place. But the positions are going to get a little harder as he gets closer to the front.
But a nice steady progress for Rusty Wallace.
Don't you know he'd love to win this race with all the problems that Roger Penske, his car owner, had during the month of May at the 500 here? He'd love to win this race.
What a shame that was that Roger Penske, both of his cars, missed the field for this year's Indianapolis 500, but Rusty Wallace is on the move in the Brickyard 400.
It looks like that Jeff Gordon might be pulling away just a little bit from Bill Elliott. We see that Elliott is pulling away from the 30 car, Michael Waltrip, and Sterling Marlin. This is Sterling Marlin in the orange number 4.
Let's see if Sterling makes a pit stop. There was a report that he might be coming in. No, not this time. He stays out.
Here comes Bobby Hamilton. Our outside pole sitter's coming in the pits this time. There we see just as he enters pit road.
On the far right of your screen, coming down pit road, the first to make a regular scheduled pit stop, Bobby Hamilton. Jerry Punch, he's coming toward you.
At 55 miles an hour, the STP Pontiac driver for Richard Petty, Bobby Hamilton, for sitting on the outside front row. Obviously, the rain has wreaked havoc on their race day setup. They will come down, change tires. We are told they will possibly make an adjustment on the Panhard bar at the rear of the car, and also make a wedge adjustment, trying to get the car to turn a little better in the corners. The car very, very tight, as they have changed now right side tires. They pulled the left side lug nuts off, fill it with fuel, and yes, in the right rear window, they are making a wedge adjustment, and left side tires going on the car number 43. Finished fueling, he is down and away, as Jeff Gordon will make an entry on the pit road.
As we watch these cars come down pit road, all the leaders are coming except Bill Elliott. Elliott takes the lead on lap 32.
And Bill Elliott has only led 2 previous races. This is the 3rd time that he's had that car in the lead. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Expect no major changes, no surprise on Jeff Gordon's car. As Sterling Marlin comes in to make his adjustments, both cars going to work. They're going to take a 4-tire change on both Sterling Marlin and your leader, Jeff Gordon. I talked to crew chief Ray Evernham. He was going to make no adjustments. He's off and away first, making a major wedge adjustment on Sterling Marlin's car, trying to cure that tightness condition. He is off and away as well.
Several others on pit road, including Dale Earnhardt, Joe Nemechek.
Michael Waltrip is just now leaving the pit road, and we see a major adjustment, 2 rounds down on the right rear of Earnhardt's car, trying to loosen his car up.
Mark Martin is exiting pit road, so is Ken Schrader, Ted Musgrave, Jeff Burton. And we have a loose tire on pit road. Right up against the wall separating the pit area from the racetrack, and it's stuck there.
It looked like the car said, I'll go, no, I don't want to go out there, I want to get hit, so it stopped there. There we see our leader, Elliott, is in pit, along with Bobby Labonte.
Boy, pit road is very, very busy. Jerry.
Bill Elliott also complained of the car being a tad bit too tight, but they've opted to make no adjustment. In fact, do nothing with the car except change tires and fuel the car, thinking that the track might get a little bit slippery. He will change the car to be tight. Elliott is down and away as he races Bobby Labonte back to turn 1.
Just as Jeff Gordon comes around corner number 1. This is the in-car our camera from Jeff Gordon as once again we go to Jack.
Well, Bob, there is a pit speed limit here, and they don't have onboard telemetry to tell them how fast they're going down pit road. So as you ride on board with your leader, Jeff Gordon, what he looks for coming down pit road is 3,900 RPM. In fact, Ray Evernham, going in and coming out, keeps saying over the radio to Jeff each pit stop, remember, 3,900, 3,900. That's how they figure out the speed limit on pit road.
That's what I talked about at the top of the show when we saw those two pace trucks out there. These guys were adjusting their speed in whatever gear they wanted to for pit road speed. Jeff Gordon's situation in second gear at 3,900 RPM.
So, Benny, after the pit stops, we have Jeff Gordon still ahead of Sterling Marlin. However, the leader of the race, because he has not pitted, is John Andretti.
There he is. And he still hasn't pitted.
And Jack has another update on Jeff Gordon.
Bob, this setup isn't quite as good as the last one that was on the car. He's radioed in, Jeff did to the crew, that he's a little bit tight. And what the crew said back to him is, Andretti makes his presence known on pit road, is you'll just have to live with it.
Here comes John Andretti making his pit stop. Right behind him is Darrell Waltrip and a couple of other cars. In the lead right now, is it Bill Elliott, according to
No, it's got to be the 24 car of Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon again.
Because there we see, oh, someone's getting black flag. See the black flag go off forward. There we see the leader, and Sterling Marlin is right on his back bumper, so he would have come out of the pit in second place. Elliott is now third.
And Jeff Gordon approaches a considerable amount of traffic between turns 1 and 2. That's the 77 of Bobby Hillen right ahead of him that he'll try to pass coming off of the second corner. But Sterling Marlin now is able to keep up with Jeff Gordon. 33 and 11, both black flag for pit road violations. So that would be Robert Presley and Brett Bodine.
I saw Preston in the pits a couple of days here. Sterling Marlin going for the lead, trying to get by Jeff Gordon.
He's in the short chute. He's going to try to take him in a corner, and by golly, he's going to do it, it looks like, coming off of 2.
And Jeff Gordon is right. This setup is not nearly as good as the last one, or Sterling Marlin's car is flying, one or the other.
That was coming off of turn 4, because here they are on the main straightaway, and Sterling Marlin has the lead.
Sterling Marlin, who's had so much success at Daytona and Talladega, also won a race at Darlington. Here he is leading the Brickyard 400.
Here's Jack Arun again.
Well, Benny and Bob, consider the fact that Jeff Gordon made no major changes except a new set of tires, and Sterling Marlin, who had the tight condition coming onto pit road, took some wedge out of the car. So there you can see the difference in the strategies on pit road and how it pays off out on the racetrack.
It sure does pay off, because now we see Sterling Marlin pulling away from Jeff Gordon with 124 laps to go in the Brickyard 400. We're still early in the race. And so far, it has been Jeff Gordon for the most part until the pit stops. And now we see Sterling Marlin at the head of the field. We are at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the second annual Brickyard 400, and we'll be right back.
Sterling moved out and backed up, didn't he? That 40 car is flying down the straightaway. Water?
Yeah.
Yep. Water coming from somewhere. overflow. It looks like it's coming out of the overflow. It must be water. There's overflows back there. Hey, Bill Elliott's running.
Yeah, he is. Back in Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400 now. If you're in the Budweiser Fast Track Sweepstakes, the leader at 100 miles was Sterling Marlin. So write that on your game card. You could win a race fan's fantasy. Winner will race off to the biggest races of '96, including next year's Brickyard 400. So stay tuned for the 200-mile leader and the 300 miles. We go on. Brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Well, Sterling Marlin in front. Jeff Gordon in second, but take a look at Bill Elliott. He's reeling them in.
Benny, he could be the fastest car on the racetrack right now.
Very well could be the fastest car here. If not, Bobby Labonte would be, because it looks to me like Labonte might be maintaining with these three cars.
Jerry Punch has a report on the great run so far by Bill Elliott.
We told you when Elliott pitted that we didn't see any visible change in the car chassis because he had been complaining of the car being tight. They didn't make any visible change. What they actually did was made an air pressure adjustment. They took air, they put air out of the right front and added air to the left rear to try to correct that problem. Mike Beam said that's the way this tire works. It's very sensitive to air pressure changes, and Bill said the car now is absolutely flawless.
It is running well, and after 40 laps, Sterling Marlin leads at an average speed of 161.085. We've had 5 leaders and 4 lead changes. No caution so far. We've been green all the way, and no car officially out of the race. Look at Elliott trying to take second from Jeff Gordon, and he does.
No problem whatsoever. And what a gamble that Elliott and the crew made last night in changing that engine, putting that Pocono qualifier in. I said, why would you guys take a chance like that? Mike Beam said, we did not come to Indianapolis to run second. We want to win this race.
And they are out to do so. Sterling Marlin unable to lap the 77 car of Bobby Hill, and he is running in 34th position. There are 34 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Now watching this battle for the lead from Jeff Gordon's perspective. Jeff is running in third as Elliott and Marlin are ahead of him. And now Marlin will be able to lap the slower car of Bobby Hill, and then 33 cars are now on the lead lap.
Jeff Gordon will also be able to get by Hill as he go down in turn 1. And now we see Bobby Labonte come into the frame. I'm telling you, this Interstate battery car is not that bad.
Labonte leaking into 4th position, and look at the damage on the right side of Joe Nemechek's car. Look at this, Benny.
Now we see Earnhardt, right, this is on Earnhardt's in-car camera, and Nemechek makes some contact with the retaining wall, so he's coming in to get the car checked out and at least change tires.
Here he is stopping in his assigned pit. Joe Nemechek's crew goes to work on the Burger King car.
That's too bad. He had a great run.
Sure did.
He was running in 10th place.
Had been in the top 10 since the green flag dropped. Jerry Punch, you down there?
We're here in Nemechek's Burger King pit, and the biggest concern was the fact that they have a right rear tire rubbing. They changed right side tires only, but about another lap and a half, and he would have rubbed that right rear tire completely through and tagged the wall a ton. Fortunately, he's able to come in and make the tire change. Bob?
Right, so Nemechek rolls back out onto the speedway as we focus our attention once again on first, second, and third, Marlin, Elliott, and Gordon.
I tell you what, it's just, and there was Steve Labonte right at the end of the fourth place car. It is so difficult trying to find the best car. You know, it's easy there at the beginning because Jeff Gordon drove away, but right now, these three cars awfully evenly matched.
Since the pit stop, it has not been the same for Jeff Gordon, but he is still very, very much in contention in third position right now. Last year, Sterling Marlin started in 9th position here at the Brickyard 400 and finished in 14th. It's been a great season for the Larry McClure team. Marlin second in the point standings. Won at Daytona last year, faded. Won at Daytona this year, has been consistent all season long, and certainly is in the championship hunt. Gary Gerald has a report.
So Rusty Wallace has made tremendous progress, Bob, as you're aware, starting way back in 24th, currently listed in 7th. Robin Pemberton and the crew are a little bit concerned, however. They think that maybe one of the wheel weights has come off. They've got a vibration that he's having to just live with. We'll keep an eye on the racetrack and see if it impacts his performance, but very quiet. He has moved up into a terrific position from deep in the pack.
And Gary, he has just taken over 6th position from Michael Waltrip, so moved Rusty Wallace to 6th.
Anytime you have a vibration right after a pit stop, you're concerned that a couple of lug nuts might have been left just a little bit loose. It's because these guys are having to change 4 tires in 17 seconds, and they can't go back around twice. They got to get all those nuts tight in one time around, and sometimes they leave a couple of those nuts just a little bit loose.
Rusty Wallace won the Martinsville race on the short track earlier this year in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Last year he started 12th here at the Brickyard 400 and finished 4th last lap over 164. And now Elliott begins to challenge Sterling Marlin, but can't pull off the pass.
Takes a look. He's running across some slow cars. That's Kenny Wallace right in front. The TIC Financial car, and that's Greg Sachs in 32 in front of Kenny Wallace. The blue car is Greg Sachs, and Wallace in the black 81.
Wallace running in 32nd position, and the 32 car of Greg Sachs running in 31st. From the Budweiser blimp, once again, we see the overhead coverage and the very short separation between first and second, Marlin and Elliott. Marlin is our 5th leader so far of the afternoon. Gordon led the first 31 laps, then Elliott took over. Andretti led during pit stops. Bobby Hillen led during pit stops, and when all the pit stops were over, it was Sterling Marlin that point.
It looks like right now that Jeff Gordon might be struggling just to keep up with Sterling Marlin and Bill Elliott.
Dale Earnhardt started 13th, just went around Rick Mast and moved into 8th position, despite the fact that he brushed the wall earlier.
Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt both moving towards the front. We see these two cars. Why don't they move over and get out of the way? Because they desperately want to stay in front of the leader, because if they cross that line, the start-finish line, the caution flag were to come out, the pace truck would pick up the leader, Sterling Marlin. These cars would be able to go around a complete 2.5-mile oval and make up that much distance.
Well, bringing us the aerial shots today over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is Bud 1 Airship, Anheuser-Busch's traveling ambassador, and there it is. It's 194 feet long, 2/3 the length of a football field, and it has the best vantage point of this great battle that's going on among Marlin, Elliott, and Gordon.
I like her seat pretty good, Bob.
It's not too bad, is it?
Not too shabby. Bill Elliott, he tried down the backstretch. Pulled on the inside, trying to get a run, couldn't do it. Now Marlin has a run on Kenny Wallace, trying his best.
And Marlin has been trying to lap Kenny Wallace for the last several laps and has been unable to do so.
Elliott, once again, I think he's got a run this time.
Nope, not quite. Here's Jack Arute.
And I'm with Ray Evernham, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, and those tight condition on these set of tires are really giving him problems. What kind of change will you make next stop?
Well, we're going to make some more changes. You know, we didn't want to change anything. All we did that time was change tires. Car's not balanced as good. You know, you always hear about mismatched set or whatever. Evidently, we've got a set that's just not matched as good as the first set. But now we're going to run on thicker tires the rest of the day, so we'll just have to start adjusting on it.
The big question is, do you now think about 160 laps instead of 80 laps?
Well, I don't know. I'm pretty surprised. I'm going to start to think about 160.
Gentlemen?
Benny, it's soon to be a four-car battle for the lead because, as you have indicated before, and now even closer, is Bobby Labonte.
Here he comes. That young man has done a tremendous job this year for Joe Gibbs. I mean, who would have thought back in December, January that the Interstate Batteries car would be just as good as it's been this year? That has been one of the best cars all year long. He and Jeff Gordon, probably the two major surprises of 1995.
At Charlotte and at Michigan International Speedways earlier this year, Bobby Labonte took the checkered flag and visited victory lane for the first and second times in his Winston Cup career. He's very much in contention, running in fourth position here at the Brickyard.
Hey, I'm impressed with Greg Sachs and Kenny Wallace.
Yeah.
I mean, they have not been able, Sterling Marlin has still not been able to pass those two cars.
Elliott once again challenges Sterling Marlin. He's trying, now he's got him.
Elliott takes the lead. Turn 4.
Elliott goes into the lead for the second time this afternoon. He led laps 32 and 33, and now on lap 50 is back in front.
And the fans are standing and waving and cheering as Elliott goes down the front straightaway.
He is the most popular driver in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. He's won that honor for the last several years. He has had somewhat of a struggle, but despite that is in 10th position in the point standings, looking for his first victory of 1995.
Mike Beam, the crew chief on the 94 car, the McDonald's car, started the year Mike did with Junior Johnson. Moved over with Bill Elliott after the Coca-Cola 600 and has done a tremendous job for Elliott.
Watching the battle for third position now as Bobby Labonte has caught Jeff Gordon. Benny, that car just doesn't seem to be handling well for Jeff Gordon at the moment.
No, it doesn't. We see Elliott trying to get by Wallace and Sachs, and he's having his problems as well.
So there remain 32 cars on the lead lap. Jack has a report on Jeff Gordon. What's going on, Jack?
Bob, you rode with Jeff Gordon. Here's the condition. He says it's loose going into the corner, and it's tight coming out. So he's got to wrestle that wheel.
What do you do, Benny, in a situation like that?
Pray. I mean, really, true. That's one of the hardest things you can possibly do. If the car is loose all the way around the corner, you can correct that. But when it's loose one place and tight another, you've got a real problem with your hands.
Bill Elliott is the leader of the Brickyard 400 after 52 laps. It's Marlin, Gordon, Labonte, and Hamilton in the top 5. Back with more from Indianapolis in a moment.
Tracking the man. Letting you know who's moving. Here to help. Spotter.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Sterling Marlin may have a problem, Benny. He's dropped back down to fourth.
What happened to Sterling Marlin? He got caught behind Mike Wallace. Elliott got by the 90 car of Mike Wallace clean in traffic, and Sterling got hung behind him coming off the second corner. And these guys, when Sterling had to back up a little bit, they seized that opportunity and drove by.
So just that quickly, you fall from second to fourth. It's still Bill Elliott, the leader, and the lap car of Mike Wallace between first and second. Jeff Gordon is running second. Now here's the last lap for Bill Elliott, averaging 161 miles an hour.
We can see it's 165 into turn 1. That time, 190 just past the start-finish line. 170 in the middle of turn 1 and 2.
There he is in the short chute now.
He's going down the back stretch. As the exit turn 2 is 151 miles an hour. Is that a 1?
Yep.
Now we'll check as he goes down the back straightaway in the speed. He's in turn 3 now, but we'll get his speed down the back stretch. 177 miles an hour. We can see that these cars are slowing him down just a little bit.
About the same speed between 3 and 4 as between 1 and 2. And off the fourth corner at also 152 miles an hour. Cannot dispense, however, with Kenny Wallace. Now he may be able to, and if he does, he's going to do it on the outside.
Whoa! Man,
He got the job done.
what's got him down here?
Elliott is feeling real racy.
He is feeling racy.
That gives you an idea at the speeds achieved all the way around the racetrack. And now Bobby Labonte goes to second position around Jeff Gordon.
Now he's on the inside of Mike Wallace, and Gordon is going to try to go along as well. He will. Now here comes Sterling Marlin, and they finally will be able to dispense of Mike Wallace.
Jack has a report on Sterling Marlin.
Bob, the story is lap traffic. Mike Wallace and Tony Glover came over to the NASCAR officials and began to lobby for more extensive use of the passing flag. They didn't want to take any chances in terms of passing Wallace, and they want to try and conserve the car, so that caused him to lose a couple of spots. Marlin has dropped back, but there's no mechanical problem.
Boy, track position extremely important. Just that quickly, he fell from second to fourth. Mike Wallace, the car that they passed there and put a lap on, one of 7 drivers in this field that were not in last year's field. Jerry Punch is in the pit road.
We're in Bill Elliott's here with crew chief Mike Beam. And Mike, this car has really caught fire. What kind of adjustments did you make on that first stop?
Well, changed the air pressure a little bit. We're okay when we're out front, but aero, you know, we got a little bit too much spoiler on the back of this car, and we need our trap speeds down a little bit. But Bill, I think Bill's ready to go. I think he wants to win all the money. You know, we're pretty happy.
Is this the culmination of a year of frustration for Bill Elliott and Mike Beam finally getting back together and being able to make something happen here at the Brickyard?
Well, I couldn't really admit that. You know, he's happy right now. This is a new car we took to Pocono, and he just feels good in his car. And, you know, hopefully it's a long way to go, and hopefully today will be our day.
And that's Mike Beam, crew chief for Bill Elliott. They did not show their hand all week long, but man, are they showing it now.
Mike Beam started the season with Brett Bodine and has 2 wins as a crew chief. Well, we see that Sterling Marlin has passed Jeff Gordon for 3rd, and look at Rusty Wallace, who is catching up. He is now in 5th, Benny.
He sure is. He's able to get by the 43 car, Bobby Hamilton. And those guys are clocking, those crew chiefs are clocking on the pit road, and you never know, he might be as fast as the leader. Gary Gill might have the answer. Gary?
Denny, I'll tell you what, that's exactly what we heard a radio conversation a short time ago. Rusty wanted to know, am I the fastest car out here? Am I running as fast as the leaders? He clearly thinks that he is. I can't give you a definitive answer, but it's a happy crew down here. He's come from 24th to 5th.
Rusty, Mike, and Kenny Wallace in this year's field, one of 5 sets of brothers to take the green flag for this year's Brickyard 400.
Jeff and Brett and Todd Bodine. 3 more brothers.
Yep.
And we're watching Rusty Wallace as he goes in turn 3.
Last lap, 164.594 miles an hour, 54.7 seconds for 5th place, Rusty Wallace. It is Bill Elliott that is setting the pace of the 2nd annual Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and we'll be back with more of our coverage in a moment. Well, I think we're doing a great job. Yeah, we do.
Yep.
Ever.
Ooh, he's struggling right now.
Martin just got around Michael.
I see Glover going up to talk to somebody. Shoot Tony Glover. He's going up to talk to Ray Evernham. Well, that was a long, short conversation, wasn't it?
It sure was.
I guess he'll ask him when he was coming in.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, there's Jeff Gordon in 4th position and Rusty Wallace in 5th as we expect pit stops in the next few laps.
That tells you two things. Rusty Wallace is running very well. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car is struggling. Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, see how well he's running? He's going right by Jeff Gordon now.
And a very, very solid performance for Rusty Wallace here in the first 60 laps of this event. He has moved to 4th place.
This is down in turn 1. Across the short chute towards turn 2.
And VP, you predicted earlier that the fans would come in droves to their seats, and they have. I would say the stands are now at about 95% capacity.
Yes, they are.
It is really amazing that the NASCAR fans stay away until they know there's going to be racing, and then all of a sudden they flock into the stands, and they're there by the time the race starts.
And look,
shortly after.
Beautiful blue sky.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful evening here in Indianapolis. Much unlike what we had earlier today when it rained and rained buckets full, it seems.
We're riding with Jeff Gordon. Once again, see the tunnel that the drivers drive through. It's amazing to watch these cars go down the straightaway. There we see Rusty Wallace, the Miller Genuine Draft Ford, and the DuPont Chevy. Kyle Petty in front of Rusty Wallace.
The average speed at 60 laps was 161.763, the record for the Brickyard 400. The record for the entire 400-mile distance last year was 131.977. We had 6 cautions for 25 laps in last year's race. We've been caution-free, Benny, so far. Let's hope that continues.
And Sterling Marlin has still not been able to get by Kenny Wallace.
That's right. Wallace is a lap down, but Marlin, who is running in 3rd, has not been able to pass him. Now here comes Sterling Marlin, and Jack Root, he's coming to you at 55 miles per hour.
So difficult to adjust. Now, Jeff Gordon is also right behind Sterling Marlin. Gordon is getting no side bite whatsoever, so there'll be major chassis changes on that team. But here's what's interesting, guys. Tony Glover and Ray Evernham have decided to team up in terms of pit stops under green flag conditions. They have compared notes and decided when to bring both cars in simultaneously. They are separated only by a pit opening as both teams go to work. They're going to have to clean off the debris. It'll take on 4 tires for both teams. They're going in tandem so that under green flag conditions, they have a running mate when they're back out on the racetrack. Both teams doing very quick work, trying to make adjustments. And remember, we said no side by Gordon. He's the first one away. But it'll be a drag race to the end of pit road.
Well, Benny, we saw Tony Glover, the crew chief for Sterling Marlin, go up and talk to Ray Evernham while we were in break a while ago, and that's exactly what he went there for.
He went there and said, how many laps are you going to go till you stop? And he said 4 laps or 3, whatever the number was. And Tony went back to his crew and said, we're stopping in 3 laps.
And again, that just points out the importance of having a drafting partner here in Indianapolis. There goes Bill Elliott, by the way, on the right side of your screen.
He probably will lap these 2 cars. Yes, he will. Now, if the caution should fall in the next lap or 2, Jeff Gordon and the 4 car would both be a lap down.
Other pit stops are being made as we watch the action on the racetrack. Mark Martin comes in the Valvoline Ford. There is the leader, Bill Elliott. There is Mark Martin getting service on his car. The change of tires on the right side completed. Now they go to left in a chassis adjustment, Benny.
1 round of wedge out of the Valvoline Ford, trying to loosen the car up just a little bit.
Rusty Wallace is coming in. Gary Jarrell called this pit stop for us.
Dale Jarrett gets out ahead of Wallace, who's on pit road. Remember that 55 miles an hour. Now the team over the wall. Here's the 2 car right on the mark. We watch with the crew. Robin Pemberton said, we love the way the car's handling. We don't expect any changes. And why not? He's come from deep in the pack to be a contender. Left side complete, and he's rolling, and Earnhardt's on pit road.
Goodrich crew goes to work on Dale Earnhardt's car. You're watching from the in-car camera.
David Smith, the jackman, goes around. The left side is going up. Andy Peters all set. And Earnhardt goes down. You will see Bill Elliott's the leader coming. He will put Earnhardt a lap down.
as the defending Winston Cup champion, Dale Earnhardt, has his choice of where he pits, and he chooses the one at the end of pit road.
And we can see just how much better that brand new tires are working on these cars than used tires. You see, Bill Elliott was able to drive away from these cars with comparable tires. Now that they, in 4 and 24, have new tires, boom, they'll drive right by Elliott.
Kenny Wallace has gotten a penalty for speed violation on pit road.
Let's see if Bill Elliott will go in the pits this time. Is he waving? Yes, he's waving to Jeff and said, I'm going to pits, and now Elliott will peel off and head towards pit road.
So Bill Elliott relinquishes the lead to make his second pit stop. Here's Jerry Punch.
And a moment ago, Elliott keyed the radio and told his crew absolutely no changes. The car is perfect. Don't change a thing. That's awfully good when you hear that from your race driver as Elliott comes down for his scheduled pit stop on lap 66 at 55 miles an hour. The big yellow M on the front of that brand new Ford Thunderbird that Mike Beam and the crew built especially for Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here is Elliott. It's just a 4-tire change. Now NASCAR is allowing an extra man over the wall to clean the windshield because drivers have complained of a glare. And they have Tony Gibson wiping the windshield for Bill Elliott. Right side tires are already on. Left side jack goes in. They fill it up with fuel. Fuel comes up the overflow. They have the tires on. Lug nut's tight. And now a problem with the left rear. A problem with the left rear. A lug nut was stuck in the gun. They finally got it on, but that cost him an extra 2.5 seconds.
Elliott comes out on the warm-up lane while Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin cross the start-finish line and head for turn 1.
But Rusty Wallace is in front of these two. Rusty Wallace and that crew must have had an unbelievable pit stop. Let's see what happens with Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin. Elliott will be about in the race with these cars, but there's Rusty Wallace.
For the moment, Bobby Labonte picked up the lead as pit stops were being made. However, now Labonte is in the pits, and that's going to give the lead back, we believe, to Bill Elliott.
It's probably John Andretti right now because Andretti has not stopped. Remember, he stretched that pit stop a little bit ago, and John Andretti would be the leader.
So that would be the second time this afternoon that John Andretti has led this race while pit stops are being made. There's Rusty, Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin.
And Rusty Wallace. What a pit stop that the Miller Genuine Draft crew had on that car. He is now in front of all these cars. He went in the pits behind them and came out in front. Doesn't get much better than that. And we see Labonte went in the pits as a leader. He will come out behind these cars as well.
Not uncommon for the Miller Genuine Draft team of Rusty Wallace. They have been so fast in the past, getting the tires changed and the car fuel.
There we see John Andretti, the leader of the race. He is still on the racetrack, has not made a pit stop.
The only driver to compete in the Indianapolis 500 and the World Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte in the same day, Indy cars and stock cars. A full-time stock car chauffeur now. We understand that John Andretti will be pitting in 2 more laps and will at that time give up the lead. This is the Michael Tranibus, Carl Haas owned machine.
As we see, he's not going to wait 2 laps. He's going to the pits right now.
Let's go to Gary Gerald as John Andretti comes in.
The signboard is out. The team is poised. Aldo Andretti stands back alongside us here. Michael Tranibus on his chair on top of the scoring stand. And here's the nose now of the colorful number 37. And John Andretti, who knows this racetrack intimately, hoping that he can have a great showing today. One thing is for sure, gentlemen, he has been getting terrific fuel mileage. He has pushed the envelope further than most anybody else. Routine changes being made as we watch with the crew. And John Andretti is back out in track.
And Rusty Wallace is now in the lead of the Brickyard 400, and he becomes our 7th leader of the afternoon. There's Rusty, closely pursued by Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon. A solid performance here in the first 60 laps for Rusty.
Yeah, we got to give Earnhardt a call when we come back. But there he is. 1, 2, 3, taking over 4th place.
Well, we got to update this computer here. We're way behind on it. Is that another one more accurate?
This one's a little better. Turn her around. Hey, Benny?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Gordon's gone loose on us now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep, this was right.
You might, though.
It's been a little wobbly, too, though, Benny. It's okay right now.
Back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Bill Elliott challenges Rusty Wallace for the lead, and Jeff Gordon is coming right behind Bill.
He's dragging Jeff right along with him, and we go down in turn 1, and both of them are able to get by. And folks, did you see Dale Earnhardt in that picture? Where did he come from?
I don't know, but he's running in 4th position, and there he is.
Man, oh man, they must have a pit stop out of this world.
He is ahead of Sterling Marlin and Bobby Labonte. The top 5, it is Wallace.
It's Elliott, Jeff Gordon,
and then
Rusty Wallace, Earnhardt, and there we see Sterling Marlin and Bobby Labonte. That's the top 6.
They're running real close together on the racetrack.
Now we see Rusty starting to drift back just a little bit, so obviously a little bit of a handling problem for Rusty. The tires might not have matched up exactly right. Say it for me, Bobby. And look, here's Bobby Hamilton back in the race.
This is the 3rd time that Bill Elliott has led this afternoon. And you're right, Bobby Hamilton has come back up to 7th position in the Richard Petty car.
Jimmy Spencer right in front of our leader, Bill Elliott. There's Spencer in the 23 car.
He is being shown in 27th position and is, of course, the last car on the lead lap. Spencer first out of the race last year as he hit the wall right there in that area of the racetrack between turns 3 and 4.
Broke his shoulder.
Yep.
I'm sure it's a pretty painful deal for Jimmy.
Watching from Jeff Gordon's perspective as Bill tries to put a lap on Jimmy Spencer. And they cross the yard of bricks and head to turn 1, and he's got him.
And right in the center of the hood, you see the white thing, that's the air filter on Jeff Gordon's DuPont Chevy. As he tries to get on the inside of Spencer, can't make it. Now he'll try to accelerate. See if he'll be able to catch Jimmy Spencer down the straightaway.
He pulls out, nearing the end of the backstretch. Nope.
Can't make it.
Well, Jerry Punch has a report on Bill Elliott, who's still leading here at Indy.
Guys, a couple laps ago, we saw Elliott make that pretty daring move to take over the lead, and what happened was his crew chief, Mike Beam, called him and said, hey, you know, our car runs much better up front, and so I want you to hustle the car a little bit and get there. Get up front, we won't have a handling problem then. And Elliott said, why? Why hustle it? He said, well, we want to lead at the halfway point. It's about 6 laps away, and it might rain. Well, I think they're sort of snookering Elliott. There's not a cloud in the sky, at least no rain clouds to be seen. They just want to see that car up front for a change. But Elliott did what he was told. He made a pass, and he currently leads.
I don't think we're going to be stopping the race anytime soon. We are close to the halfway point, but threat of rain is really not imminent at the moment. Here's the standings after 75 laps. It's Elliott, Gordon, Wallace, Earnhardt, Marlin, and Labonte in the top 6, and then 7th is Bobby Hamilton. The interval between 1st and 7th is 5.4 seconds, and Bobby Hamilton has been able to catch up to the field without the benefit of a caution to bunch him up. So a good run for Bobby Hamilton.
And right now, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, was able to get by Jimmy Spencer. Rusty was not able to pass him. He got hung behind him, and he's having trouble getting by Jimmy Spencer right now. Now he'll try to get on the inside as he comes off turn one. Now he has it. Yep. But now Earnhardt won't be able to make that pass, and that'll let Rusty get a couple of car lengths advantage on Earnhardt. This is on top of the Jim Goodrich Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt third in points, coming in 146 behind Jeff Gordon. Two wins this year for Dale Earnhardt. Currently running in fourth position. He passes Jimmy Spencer in the fourth turn. So there they are. Elliott, Gordon, Wallace, Earnhardt, and Sterling Marlin as we near the halfway point of the second Brickyard 400. So do we all. Oh.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
What are you talking about? You said there at the beginning, well, it's another reason. That's another reason. That's another reason.
I'm looking for it.
You'll find it, Bob.
What did I do with it? I'll catch you later, Kevin.
Is Elliott driving away, Kenny? Not really. Hamilton's maintaining, huh? Man, I tell you one thing. I hate to have Bobby Hamilton on my tail, but with one lap to go, wouldn't you?
Yeah. That's normal.
All right.
Back in Indianapolis, the Brickyard 400. Elliott leads. Gordon still trying to hold off charging Rusty Wallace, but this is giving Elliott an opportunity to pull away just a bit. We now approach the halfway point, the 200th mile in this run. And once we're past that, it's an official race, and who would have had any idea that we would have gotten a race in today? Surely this is by far the latest time the cars have been racing on Indianapolis since the early days, when the races, of course, ran hours and hours and hours for the 500. Now as Rusty Wallace pokes his nose inside of Gordon in the battle for second place. And they close a little bit on Bill Elliott. We've seen 7 different leaders thus far. And Elliott goes across the stripe, the halfway point. Followed by Gordon, then Rusty Wallace, then Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin. It's time again for that Budweiser Fast Track Sweepstakes. The 200-mile leader, of course, was Bill Elliott. Write that down on your game card. You could be off to the races. You could cruise to the biggest races in 1996, including next year's Brickyard 400. So stay tuned now for the 300-mile leader. That's your chance to win. Bob Jenkins?
Well, at the halfway point, we only have one car out of competition. That is Elton Sawyer in the Hooters number 27. Everybody else is still out there running. And as they come down this time, Benny, it completes lap 81. It is now an official race.
And our computer scoring is showing the 81 car, Kenny Wallace, as being in 40th place. And we saw how much trouble the leader had passing him a few laps ago. All these cars tonight running as hard as they can.
There's Elliott, the leader, and Jack Root, watch the weather situation down where you are.
Bob Jenkins, one of the things we noticed is only one crewman was back here looking at the weather radar. That was from Bill Elliott's crew. And we'll take you up and we'll show you why. Elliott's an avid flyer, and they are still tracking right here. this precipitation, there's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So far, the movement has been this way. We could still get some rain. And the only team that was back here was Bill Elliott's team checking this out.
Well, looks like most of the rain at the moment is to the east and southeast of us, but we can move over us at any time.
They were not only checking the radar, they were trying to find the minister, Max Helton.
At the halfway point, Bill Elliott, your leader at 160.738 miles an hour, 7 leaders and 9 lead changes, no caution flags, and 1 car, that being Elton Sawyer, out of the race.
As we watch Bill Elliott, the leader of the McDonald's Ford, I'll tell you that Bobby Hamilton was able to get by Bobby Lamont, moved him up into 6th place. Looks to me like there we see Kenny Wallace in the 81 car. Now it's 2 laps down to the leader. Jeff Gordon caught him in a tough spot. That let Bill Elliott get a couple of car length advantage on he and Rusty Wallace.
And it may have allowed Rusty Wallace to mount a charge here on Gordon as they come off the 4th corner onto the main straightaway. Nope, Rusty drops in behind Jeff in 3rd position.
We see Earnhardt in 4th place, closing on the back bumper off Rusty Wallace. Jeff Gordon, the rainbow-colored DuPont car, 24. Rusty, the black number 2.
Gary Gerald has a report on Rusty Wallace.
Well, as we may have suspected, this set of tires after that last stop not handling as effectively or efficiently with the setup as the previous set. He made that bold move to get up there, had the lead, surrendered it, still stalking in 3rd place, but the car's gone a little bit loose. Their concern in the Wallace pit seems to be right now that black 3 car, the Intimidator, Earnhardt. They're wanting to know how he's doing and whether or not he made a 4-tire change on their previous pit stop.
There you see Dale Earnhardt, who is running in 4th position. It is Elliott, Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and Sterling Marlin after 83 laps at the Brickyard 400.
Where did the 28 car start, man?
26, moved up to 12.
Okay, good. Well, that's fine.
I had another whole sentence. I will jump in with that if you take a breath.
That's okay. I think I am talking too much. Oh, yeah, let's shut up.
You're doing beautiful.
Bill Elliott leads the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Jeff Gordon is running in 2nd position after setting the early pace. Jack Arute has a report on Gordon.
Well, Bob, he's been complaining to the crew first in 1 lap that the car would be loose. The next lap, the car would seem to be tight. They radioed back to him because the wind is picked up here, especially on the straightaways, and it's gone in big gusts as much as 15 to 25 miles an hour. And they radioed to him and said that might be what's causing the handling changes because they couldn't figure out what was going on. But weather is becoming a factor. Tony Glover has already radioed in to Sterling Marlin, his driver. The clouds are getting dark. Let's check in with Jerry Punch.
And, Jack, that's exactly what's happening down in the Dale Earnhardt Goodrich pits. Apparently, Richard Childress also sending a representative back to take a look at the weather radar. He just recently told Earnhardt last time by that bad weather is 15 miles away. He said, keep the leaders in sight. If we need you to hustle the car, you got to be close enough to give it a shot. Bob?
Well, Benny, for the 2nd time this afternoon, there's a rainbow to the east of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, indicating that there's moisture in the air. You would think that rainbow would be for the Rainbow Warriors of Jeff Gordon. However, there it is over the 2nd turn. However, at the moment, it is Bill Elliott that is leading this race.
See, I always thought when they had a rainbow that there was not going to be any more rain.
Well, it would indicate that the rain is off to the east, and normally the weather moves from west to east, so let's hope it doesn't blow back this way.
Now we see Elliott has been able to go by Ricky Craven, the leader of the rookie point standings this year in NASCAR. Also, Gordon is able to get by, and here comes Rusty Wallace.
Craven is running in 39th position. It is now 2 laps down.
You know, I find remarkable we've run 86 laps without a yellow. It's been perfectly smooth all the way. I've been watching Dale Jarrett in the Texaco Havoline 4. He started 26 and has now moved up into 12th place.
Really? Yep. But boy, he's on the move.
And Gary Gerald has a report on Dale.
We just checked in with Larry McReynolds and Robert Yates down here. They said the car was way too tight to start the race. They missed the setup, but it's gotten better on each stop. They're cautiously optimistic, but like everybody else, they're watching this cloud cover that seems to be thickening. But it's been a terrific run, no question, thus far for the 28 car and Dale Jarrett.
And of course, is the car that was driven last year by Ernie Irvin, who battled with Jeff Gordon right until the bitter end, until a tire let go on Ernie Irvin's car. But there is Dale Jarrett this year driving the Texaco Havoline Ford, and Dale Jarrett has taken that car to an excellent performance so far today.
As he enters turn 3, the leader was going by the start finish line, so he isn't that far behind. He's still not a half lap down to our leader, Bill Elliott, so he has been hustling that car awfully well.
Jarrett won the second race this year at Pocono, which most drivers will tell you is as similar to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as any track that they currently compete on.
Most of the problems that these fellows had was the lack of practice, Bob. Yesterday in the rain, they only got, 10 or 15 laps of practice. Not enough to tell what these cars are going to do today. There's Terry Labonte, the Kellogg Stormface car.
He showed an 11th position at the moment. Terry Labonte has won 2 races this year, also at Pocono and at Richmond.
He's the next victim for Dale Jarrett if he can catch him.
Boy, he still remains, awfully tight up front. In fact, Gordon, it appears, is now in a position to challenge Elliott for the lead, maybe thinking about the weather.
Oh, he pushes just a little bit as he comes off the corner, and we see just that little bit of movement up gave Elliott another car length advantage. Now, Elliott moves up a little bit. Jeff Gordon ran a pretty good line through that corner.
Running back in 3rd position, about a car length and a half behind Jeff Gordon is 3rd place, Rusty Wallace. It's a tremendous race here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the second Brickyard 400, and we'll resume our coverage in a moment. Bill Elliott, the leader of the race, is going to be approaching a massive amount of slower traffic here in just a short time as Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace run right behind him.
And we can see 5 cars that do not want to go a lap down right in front of our leader. There we see the first 3 cars, Elliott, Gordon, and Rusty Wallace. There we see Lake Speed. There comes Earnhardt, a 4th place car. Now look at the traffic, as you said, that Elliott has got to contend with. Good car, Brett Bodine.
It's going to be interesting to see how Elliott maneuvers through all of this traffic and where he is able to do it. That's Lake Speed just ahead in turn 4. See if Elliott tries to make a move here on the main straightaway and pass Lake Speed. He will be able to do so. Let's see if Jeff is able to. Yeah, he's able to get by. Now how about Rusty Wallace as they go into turn 1? He was not able to, but now pulls alongside in the short chute.
Now we see Brett Bodine, Bobby Millen, direct in front of our leader. Last lap, Bill Elliott's lap, speed 164.5, and Jeff Gordon 163, but we see, even at that, the slower traffic, Gordon closes up right on the back bumper of Elliott.
These guys, Benny, are already a lap down, apparently. Lake Speed is now 2 laps down, and Brett Bodine is about to go 2 laps down.
Well, I know Brett Bodine was penalized for speeding down pit road, so that's where he lost 1 of the laps. This was where he would lose the second one. And Elliott and Gordon are able to get by.
Once again, Rusty Wallace gets caught behind the slower car, but now, once again, moves to the inside in the short chute and passes. Bobby Hillen there in the Jasper Engines U.S. Air Ford car number 77, who is in 35th position, already 1 lap down.
And the 40 car, Rich Bickle, the Kendall Oil Pontiac, also 2 laps down. So all those cars were racing for position. Now watch Elliott.
See if he can pass both of them. Nope, cannot do it. Look at Gordon. Ooh, right alongside Bobby Hillen in the middle of the corner.
Now Elliott will go by Bickle on the outside and make the pass. The only way he can do that is Bickle was kind enough to kind of slow down and let those cars go by. We can see that allowed Earnhardt to close right up on the back bumper of this group.
Now 1 car separating Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt. That being Bobby Hillen. We're riding with Dale in the GM Goodwrench Chevy. Will he make it? Yep, he passes in the short chute going into turn 2.
And look how close he is to Rusty Wallace and Jeff Gordon.
Now Rusty, it looks like, is going to the inside of Jeff Gordon, possibly in a bid to take second position. Nope, Rusty falls back in line.
I'll tell you what. Elliott, Wallace, Earnhardt, guys that have been stars and so good in this sport for so long, and the kid. Man.
The veterans and the youngster battling it out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
And the kid had a birthday yesterday.
Yep, he turned 24 between the day that he won the pole position and the day that he strapped on the helmet to go racing for the second time at the Brickyard. Rusty's all over though, BP.
He is. And Earnhardt is not going anyplace. If anything, Earnhardt is creeping closer and closer.
You see clouds moving in once again. There is blue sky to the north and to the northeast.
I don't believe it's going to rain.
I don't either.
I think we're going to see this thing run 160 laps, 400 miles.
Let's hope we do so to give the fans that have paid their admission to get into this great racing facility a full show.
And not only paid their admission, but put up with what we put up with today and still are here watching this battle.
Boy, talk about patient race fans. We have seen them here at Indy today. They hung in there for over 4 hours to get this race started. And they're seeing a great battle. 7 leaders so far in the Brickyard 400. Bill Elliott has command of the race at the moment. Right behind, however, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and in 5th position is Sterling Marlin. There's 6 through 10. We'll be right back.
ESPN Speed World special coverage of the Brickyard 400 is being brought to you by Delco Electronics, official sponsor of the Brickyard 400, by Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings, and by General Motors Service Parts Operations and their GM Goodwrench and AC Delco Automotive Service Parts.
Jeff Gordon is coming in for a pit stop. Jacker, what's the problem?
Well, Bob, this should be the normal sequence of pit stops, because if you notice, directly behind Jeff Gordon is his stablemate, at least for the Brickyard 400, Sterling Marlin. They're still trying to maintain a drafting partner in and out of the pits. Gordon hits his stall first. Marlin still adhering to the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now, Marlin's crew goes to work, but Gordon has the decided advantage, despite the fact that they're only separated by about 25 yards. 4 tires for both teams. No major changes on Jeff Gordon's car, and he is off and away. A chassis change, though, on Sterling Marlin's car, and he also is away.
Better pit stop for Jeff Gordon to get out considerably ahead of Sterling Marlin.
Well, they came in a long ways. We see Bobby Hamilton also in, and here comes the first and second place cars, Bill Elliott and the 2-car of Rusty Wallace. There we see
Dale Earnhardt is rolling down pit road. We watch from his in-car camera. Ricky Rudd pulls out right ahead of him.
That's a tough break. That's slowed Earnhardt down just a little bit. Jerry Bunch, here he comes to you.
And on one of Dale Earnhardt's earlier pit stop, they took a little bit of wedge out because the car was a little bit too tight, but the car is now perfect for Earnhardt, and they really told me they planned no chassis adjustment. They will just put 4 tires on it, fill it up with fuel. They cleaned the windshield. The driver again complaining of some difficulty seeing out there, some glare, but also some debris up off the racetrack. And so it was fuel, dropped the jack, and Earnhardt is down and away.
Also coming out of the pits just ahead of Dale Earnhardt is Robert Presley in car number 33 on the racetrack.
You can see Sterling Marlin trying to stay in front of Bill Elliott.
Gary Gerald, Rusty Wallace is headed toward you.
Well, remember on that earlier stop, they made substantial gains on the rest of the field. It actually launched him into the lead after we had the full shuffle. A tire gets away, but they track it down. The first can is thrown back across the wall. Boy, this team is just fine for Roger Penske. Roger not here today. He's overseas with business. Rusty Wallace is moving once again. We'll see how he works.
There's a little bit more adrenaline flowing in these guys this afternoon, Benny.
I'm telling you what, because it's $600,000 pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for these guys.
And the rainbow is still very evident. Speaking of rainbows, over the second turn, but right now, no rain at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the race continues. Bill Elliott is the leader, looking for a pit stop probably next time around. That's Todd Bodine, by the way, just ahead of him. And Todd Bodine is running in 17th position, the last car on the lead lap. They move past the corporate suites over in turn number 2. We anticipate once again a pit stop by the leader, Bill Elliott, this time around.
Todd Bodine wants to stay out there as long as he possibly can. All playing for a caution flag so far. For almost 100 laps, have not had a caution flag so far. Will Elliott come in? Yes, he is. He's heading for pit road right now.
Just at the last second, he brought the car down to the inside, got the brakes on, slammed him down into a 55-mile-an-hour range, and now Bill Elliott relinquishes the lead once again to make another pit stop. Jerry Punch. Bill Elliott is coming in.
As the 1988 NASCAR champion brings his car down for what should be his next to last scheduled stop, they plan no chassis adjustment. Elliott once again saying, do not change a thing. The car is absolutely running well. They give him a bottle of water for a cold drink. They will change all 4 tires. Tony Gibson, total crew chief, cleans the windshield. Sprays that cleaner on the windshield. One can being tossed back across. Crew now left side. Jack beneath the car. Put both left front and left rear tires on. And he's after lug nuts. Once again, a problem with the left rear. Cost him a second or 2, but he is down and away.
Slight problem there with Bill Elliott. It cost him a few seconds. And look at Jeff Gordon. He's up to speed in turn 1.
He goes by Bill Elliott. We see he's coming off turn 2, and Elliott just now coming out of the pit. So very valuable time. Elliott lost in the pit.
Bill trying to get the car back up to speed on the warm-up lane. He'll rejoin the racetrack in the backstretch. At the moment, the leader of the race is Kenny Schrader, but he has not yet stopped for his third pit stop. Right back. And the leader was Kenny Schrader. However, he now brings the Budweiser Ford in for a pit stop. The crew working on the right side of the car, and the leader on the racetrack right now is Michael Walter. The Henry crew works on the Budweiser Chevy, getting the left side tires now on. And a good pit stop for Ken Schrader. He rolls back into action. After 100 laps, Elliott again your leader at an average of 160.910. 7 liters, 9 lead changes, no caution laps, and still only Alton Sawyer is out of the race. And at this point, Benny, we have to begin thinking about the possibility of a race without a caution. And the last time that happened was in 1992 at North Wilkesboro when the Holly Farms 400 won by Jeff Bodine. There has never been a race run at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway without a caution.
Michael Walter with Pennzoil Pontiac still hasn't stopped. He's now the lead of the race. Hey, and this pays $400 a lap to lead.
You bet.
He's picking up that money.
And he's our 9th leader of the afternoon.
And there we see Gordon, Wallace, Earnhardt.
This is a battle for position between Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt.
There we see, and Bill Elliott, where is he? Back there, way almost half straightaway behind Dale Earnhardt is Bill Elliott racing with Sterling Marlin. That's how much time he lost with that mix-up they had in the pits. The jack wasn't quite high enough to get that left rear on.
And remember, Jeff Gordon and Sterling Marlin pitted together, and Jeff has been able to pull that far ahead of Sterling Marlin. Now, Michael Waltrip comes in for a pit stop. And I believe that's going to give the lead once again to John Andretti, and he seems to be the leader at whenever everybody else comes in for a pit stop. There is John Andretti to lead once again. But as you said, Benny, it's worth some money, so why not? And some points.
And some points, that's right. We see him wave into the 26 car that says, I'll be going to the pit the next time by.
26 car, of course, is Hut Strickland, who's running in 23rd position, one lap down to the leader. So John Andretti with the temporary lead here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, started in 23rd position. Back in a moment. At the Brickyard 400, John Andretti had the lead, but he made his pit stop, and that gives the lead back to Jeff Gordon. The battle for second is pretty good behind Jeff. That is Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt.
As Jeff Gordon tries to lap by Jeremy Mayfield, dives on the inside. He does put Jeremy another lap down.
He's 2 laps down now. Jeremy Mayfield runs in 32nd position. Gordon, first to start in the lead right now, has led 32 of the laps.
There comes our second and third place car, Rusty Wallace. Number 2, the black Ford. Number 3, the black Chevrolet is Dale Earnhardt.
From high overhead, Bud 1, the Budweiser Flip, travels 10 months out of the year, appearing at sporting events all across the country. This Bud's for you, and we're glad you could join us here for the second Brickyard 400.
As we watch the leader, that's the second car is Jeff Gordon, the leader. The fourth car in line is Rusty Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt would be the 5th place car. And there we see Bill Elliott. You know, Bob, I don't know that Elliott will ever catch back up. He may be too far behind unless there's a caution play.
That pit stop was costly for Elliott. Jack Arute has a comment on Jeff Gordon.
Well, Jeff Gordon, we checked with his crew chief, Ray Evernham, and they are very happy with the setup that's on the car right now. I posed the question as we approach what should be the final pit stop, if they would make any changes. He said, if the car stays the way it is, we'll go with what we've got and just change tires. On the other hand, Sterling Marlin, what they've been radioing to Sterling is just go, baby, go, baby.
Well, Sterling does have to go some because he's fallen back to 5th spot. We understand that the number 12 car of Derek Hope, the straight arrow Ford, has gone to the garage area. Possibly the second car out of the race. We'll let you know a little bit later. Dale Earnhardt able to get around Jeremy Mayfield. Kyle Petty is between Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace, first and second, and there is Earnhardt in 3rd. Kyle Petty, car number 42, is a lap down in 30th position, now 2 laps down.
There we see Kyle move over and let Rusty Wallace go by. And there comes Elliott. He's been able to drive away from the 4 cars. As a matter of fact, I started to say the 18 car had passed him, but he hasn't. There's the 18 car. Right now, 18 is currently in 7th place. That's Bobby Labonte.
And here comes Mark Martin, who's in 8th spot, and Rick Mast right behind him in 9th. Good run for Rick.
That paint job on Mark Martin's car looks a little strange. That's celebrating the 100th anniversary of Valvoline being involved in motorsports. And it may be the look for 1996, if they like it.
Yeah. I said earlier that next week when we go to Watkins Glen, the car will be back to the original colors. All right, now Rusty Wallace is right on Jeff Gordon's tail. He's going to be able to pass him possibly. Down the straightaway comes Rusty, and yes, Wallace takes the lead.
And he did it at the right place in front of all these people. Down the tunnel of folks on the front straightaway. And Rusty Wallace is in front.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That is the 15th lead change when Rusty took the lead from Jeff just a few moments ago, but Rusty has led previously. We've had 9 different leaders.
Who do you think wants to win this race the most? Rusty, Gordon, Earnhardt?
Or all 3 of them.
Exactly right.
And about 40 others that are still out there in competition. You know, there is a bonus in effect and eligible to Jeff Gordon. The person who is in the points lead at the end of this race picks up a $100,000 bonus for leading the points at this stage in the season.
Why should Jeff Gordon win? That is one of other big prizes from all year.
Just add that $100,000 onto the more than $600,000 that the winner will get in just a few more laps. We're at lap 110, so there's only 50 more laps to go in the Brickyard.
Can you imagine that $600,000 to win a stock car?
How long did it take you to earn $600,000 in your career?
Man, forever. Never see Rusty Wallace over down the straightaway trying to lose some of the draft off Jeff Gordon. And it looks like he's able to drive away from Jeff and Earnhardt just a little bit, a few feet each lap.
Rusty Wallace started in 12th position last year at the Brickyard, finished in 4th spot. He began this race in 24th position, but from the start, he has had a steady progress to the front.
And he's done that without the aid of a caution flag. That's the amazing thing, to start in 24th, take the lead without a caution flag. Helping you.
Interval grows between first and second. This once again is from overhead in the Budd airship. But the interval between first and second grows just a little bit. Between second and third, about 2-3 car lengths. And this is third place, Dale Earnhardt. We talked about money earlier. Jeff Gordon has averaged over $48,000 in earnings in every start in his career. This is his 81st start, and that's the best average of all time in terms of money won. The 77 car of Bobby Hillin is being pushed toward the garage area. He may be a casualty, and now listed officially as out of the race is the number 12 of Derry Cope. So Sawyer and Cope, the only 2 officially out of the race. Bobby Hillin may join that list before too long. On the racetrack, they remain stable. Wallace, Gordon, and Earnhardt.
Right now, Bill Elliott is 5 seconds behind Rusty Wallace. We'll try to keep track of this every few laps and see if Elliott is gaining or if he's losing to Rusty Wallace. In 5 seconds, that's a huge deficit to make up. But you know what? We're playing into, once again, some strategy at the end of the race. Will these teams change 2 tires, 4 tires? How much gas are they going to have? One can't do it. Maybe one car will just put in some gasoline. What's going to be that strategy? The last pit stop if the caution flag is not waved.
And there should be only one more before the end of the race if we continue to have a green condition on the speedway. Got a glimpse there just a moment ago of Bill Elliott, who is running in 4th position, but quite a ways behind third place, Dale Earnhardt. 5.2 seconds now, Ben.
He lost 0.2 of a second that lap to Rusty Wallace. So, it appears as though Rusty Wallace is the fastest car and rightfully deserves to be in the front of this field.
So there may be a Roger Penske-owned car in victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in 1995 after all. Rusty is your leader. Is with Derry Cope, who's out of the race.
Derek, what look out?
Well, I think we had some motor problems. You know, we were running along pretty good and trying to make our way to the front, get a little track position when the caution come out, and I think we broke a valve in the motor. So,
running this late in the day, what's the glare like inside the race car?
There was a little bit of glare off the other cars, you know, coming through the short chute over there and stuff, but really it's not too bad yet. If the guys wore a little bit of a light smoke shield, they won't have any problem with it.
Now you got to pick a winner for me.
Well, I tell you, I look like Gordon was the first guy that caught me when the motor started to go sour, and he's looking pretty stout, you know. I wish we had a straight arrow Ford out there, but maybe next time.
Second guy to DNF today, guys.
Stora's more powerful at the moment, however, is Rusty Wallace.
Just a tick. Yep. And just 45 laps to go.
There was a slight rule change regarding spoilers coming into this race. They had to be up at, what, 65 degrees?
65 degrees. All cars have to be, the blade, that angle right there has to be a minimum of 65 degrees.
And that will be checked very closely at the end of the race.
At the end of this race, all cars will have to maintain that, or I don't know what the penalty would be, but it'll be severe, whatever. Maybe $600,000 fine if the winner should be less than 65 degrees.
Once again, Rusty Wallace coming up on some slower traffic now, moving down the backstretch. Dale Earnhardt started this race in 13th position. He's 1.4 seconds behind the leader in third.
A brand new race car. They came here, they tested, they did not like the results, went home, built a brand new car for this racetrack. They want this. They want this championship and this race badly.
Yeah, they want the championship real badly. It would be his 8th and an all-time record, breaking the tie he currently has with Richard Petty with 7 NASCAR Winston Cup championships. 43 laps to go in the Brickyard 400. Jack Arute is now with Bobby Hillen, who's officially out.
But they're starting to drop like flies. Bobby, what put you out?
Well, I think it was broke from the start. I was getting bad fumes in the car, and it was pushing real bad. It was down on power, and something in the motor must have been broke from the beginning, and then it finally broke a valve, I think, altogether. So just wasn't too good a day.
Tough one for you. Tell us about the first time you came to the Indianapolis Speedway.
Well, I was in the trunk of my dad's car. I was about 11 years old. He had a car racing in the race and said he needed to get some in the garage area, and they said, okay. He pulled up and unloaded me out of the trunk, and that's how I got in here.
What a difference a bunch of years make.
Bobby Hillen started 17th, is currently out for the Brickyard 400, and may finish in 39th position. Earnhardt has certainly caught up to Jeff Gordon.
He's right on his back bumper. As a matter of fact, he needs to get in front of Jeff Gordon and he looks on the inside.
Oh, I thought he had the door of opportunity open for him right there, but he could not take advantage of it, and Jeff holds second. You can hear the drivers getting off the accelerator as the and then hard on it all the way down the backstretch.
Pressing that throttle as hard as they possibly can. And down at the turn 3, they'll back off the throttle and hit the brakes. About right here. They're on the brakes now.
And there's the glare. That is a definite problem. Boy, that's blinding there in the short chute.
And maybe it will go behind that stand pretty soon, and that will help the situation a great deal.
Between Gordon and Dale Earnhardt as Rusty Wallace leads the Brickyard 400. Jack Arute has a report on Jeff Gordon.
Well, Bob, the handles have gone away just a bit on Jeff Gordon's car, but what they've done is radioed to him, just hang in there. We can make the fix on the final stop. The word we're getting is the fix will be a simple adjustment.
So, if they change the pressure in the tires, that means they're going to have to change 4 tires. Whose car is good enough that they can change, say, 2 tires or gas only? Boy, I think this is really turning out to be some kind of chess game.
It could all come down to pit road strategy as well as who is the best out there on the racetrack. At the moment, it is Rusty Wallace over Gordon, Earnhardt, Elliott, and Sterling Marlin.
Front of Jeff Gordon. Earnhardt runs third. We've had a green flag all the way, and the final pit stop of the run should be coming up shortly. What will they do? No change of tires. 4 tires, 2 tires. It's turning out to be a spectacular run.
And you just saw Rusty Wallace put a lap on the 31 car of Ward Burton. He was in 22nd position. There are 21 now on the lead lap, and Darrell Waltrip will be the next to go down a lap, and Rusty's right behind him. And the interval between first and second has opened up. There comes Bill Elliott, who's running 4th.
I don't know that he's gaining on Rusty Wallace, but obviously he is gaining on Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon.
There is Bill, who has led a considerable number of laps in this event.
Bob, isn't it interesting that each 100-mile leader has been a different driver?
Yes.
I'm not going to tell those players who they are, but every 100-mile leader has been a different driver.
Yep. Bobby Hamilton continues to run well. He's running right behind Sterling Marlin. That's 5th and 6th. Here's the race summary after 120 laps. The average speed is 160.980. Rusty Wallace in the lead. 14 lead changes among 9 drivers. 3 cars are out of the race.
There is 7, 8, 9, and 10. Labonte, Martin, Smash, and Jarrett. There's races all over this racetrack.
Bill Elliott, by the way, continues at the moment to have led the most laps so far today. He's led 46. Jeff Gordon, 35. And, of course, the current leader is Rusty Wallace.
Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, now Dale Jarrett trying to track those guys down. Once again, Labonte, Interstate Battery Cars in 7th. Mark Martin is in 8th. Rick Masters 9th. And Dale Jarrett, the Texaco car, is in 10th place.
Leads him off the corner. Mark Martin is back in 8th position. The shadows now cover the entire straightaway and in fact reach into the infield grandstands along the main straightaway. Bright sunshine continues to hold for us, and it looks like indeed we will be able to get the entire distance in as only 37 laps remain in this race.
Well, you know, everyone would say, well, why would they not be concerned about starting the race at 4 o'clock? They obviously could get all the race in. Folks, there's probably 300,000 people here in attendance. You know, we've got to get rid of them, and there's not enough lighting around here. You know, they need to find their cars. If it gets dark, 1,000 people will never be able to find their cars. I don't know where mine is, as a matter of fact.
And, you know, several people come here and buy a plane ticket perhaps back on Sunday, and it was just the best interest of everybody that this race get in today. And, boy, they went till the very, very last opportunity before the track dried and they got the cars out there, but it is apparently going to go the full distance. Dale Jarrett started 26th, has moved up to 10th position. A great race for Dale Jarrett as Mark Martin moves alongside Bobby Labonte. Now we're back up front as Rusty Wallace continues to lead. Jeff Gordon is 2nd, and we're riding with 3rd place Dale Earnhardt, and the glare is just as bad there in the short chute between turns 3 and 4. The sun has not yet gone behind the 4th turn grandstands. Page, Benny Parsons, Jack Arute, Jerry Punch, and Gary Gerald with coverage of the 2nd Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're watching 2nd and 3rd right here. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. The leader of the race is Rusty Wallace. Jack Arute has a report on Jeff.
Well, Jeff Gordon is not a happy driver right now, gentlemen. He's just been crying to his crew chief, we're going to lose this race. This car is junk. And Ray Evernham, ever the calm one, said, don't worry about it. We'll fix it in 4 laps. That's when they're going to pit for their final time.
You know, it's often been said, Jeff will admit it, Ray will tell you that one of Ray Evernham's major jobs during a race is to keep Jeff Gordon calm, and that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Hey, I just said earlier in the show, he's 24 years old yesterday. He's a young man, excitable. Hey, he wants to win this thing badly. I used to be the same way. Nice, calm guy. Would you believe I used to get excited?
I can't imagine you getting excited about anything.
Kenny Schrader has made a pit stop. That would be obviously his final pit stop at Budweiser Chevrolet. He goes back on the racetrack. And Bill Elliott has caught the 2nd and 3rd place car, Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt. There we see Elliott, the McDonald's car, in 4th place. And we see him stick his hand out the window. I don't know if he's warming the car or was that a signal to the pit crew?
Well, we are within the window of final pit stop opportunity with 34 laps to go. And so we will be seeing some final pit stops occurring soon. And Jeff Gordon is going to make one. He drops off the groove and heads down for the pit area. Jeff Gordon relinquishes 2nd position to make what should be his final pit stop of this Brickyard 400. Dale Earnhardt will pick up 2nd position. Jeff Jeff Gordon slowly making his way down pit road, keeping it under 55 miles an hour. Jack?
We've seen it so many times, guys, boil down to the work on pit road. The Rainbow Warriors taking on 11 gallons in Union 76. The second tank now going in. They are going to make a 4-tire change, and they have made a major chassis adjustment on the right side of the car. Looks like they were taking wedge out of the car. They're completing a little bit extra time on the left rear because they dropped 2 lugs. They've got to put him back on. He's walking away. He lights the tires up. A long stop, though.
It was not a good pit stop, Benny.
Not a good pit stop. Had a problem on the left rear. One of those deals like maybe a nut got jammed in the shock or something.
That's exactly what happened, Benny. 2 lugs got jammed. They popped them off, and real quick thinking by the jackman, he was able to pick them up and put spares on.
Dale Earnhardt is in, and so is Bill Elliott. They're both coming down pit road slowly. Dale will go to the very last pit. Jerry Punch is with Dale Earnhardt.
7-time Winston Cup champion. As you see, Earnhardt and Bill Elliott both getting right side tires. Chevrolet, car number 3, the 94, car number 4. 94 Ford getting left side tires. Now, left side rubber also going on the Goodrich Chevrolet. Final pit stop for 2 of these veteran Winston Cup drivers. Earnhardt is down and away, and Elliott's car hits the ground. He puts it in gear and drives away.
And now Rusty Wallace comes off the racetrack. Gary Gerald.
A man who's won 40 times in his career, but only 1 time this year. It was on the short track at Martinsville. Here he is. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel. That answers one of the questions. We're watching. His last radio conversation indicated that everything was fine in the car. And without the benefit of a yellow today, he's come from 24 deep in the field. This has been the drive of the day thus far. And here he goes.
Had just a little bit of trouble on the right front. How much is he going to make on the racetrack?
Got a wheel on pit road. Benny Wright rolled away. I don't know if it was from Jarrett or from Wallace. One car took evasive action.
And all kinds of activity. Oh, and Rusty gets hung up.
And he had to stop to this Rich Bickle. That also is going to slow Rusty Wallace down. Let's see how it all stacks up when it's over.
Boy, just a terrible break for Rusty Wallace. But again, the race is not always won on the racetrack.
And there's a car smoking in front of Rusty. It might be the Nemechek car that made contact.
Yes, it is. We can see it.
Nemechek makes contact with Bickle. Is that Earnhardt? That's Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace fighting together for the lead. Well, it'll be the lead when it's all over and said and done with.
But Dale is going to pass Rusty with ease down the backstretch.
Rusty Wallace was not up to speed as he came back out of the pits.
So we settle down now for the final laps of the Brickyard 400 here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt leading Rusty Wallace. Let's take a look once again, Benny, at what happened in the pit area.
There we see Rusty is leaving, and there's a tire right in front of him. He has to dodge that tire, and a tire came off the 28 car across pit road. But now we see Bickle, the Kendall car, is going to make contact with Nemechek in the 87 as Nemechek starts to lead. Here comes Nemechek. Boom! He runs right in the side of Bickle. Now, Rusty has to slow to avoid these cars, and a tire comes off the 43 car almost in the side of Rusty Wallace.
All kinds of excitement at the end of pit road.
Man.
Wow. Well, we believe that John Andretti has once again picked up the lead of the Brickyard 400. This is the 4th time that he has led this race. Back in just a moment.
Of course, now, after the last round of pit stops, and the first yellow of the day flies.
There we see Jeff Burton, the Rebestis car. Let's see what we can tell what happens. There he is in front of Earnhardt. He gets the car loose, hits the wall, goes down, spins right in front of Rusty Wallace, and in the inside wall for some pretty heavy contact. Let's try to watch this from our speed shot. Here comes Jeff right at us and loses control and spins right in front of Rusty Wallace.
And all the problems Rusty had in the pit area, thinking once he got back on the track he'd be okay, and then he narrowly missed Jeff Burton.
And Jeff Burton at the time was running in 2nd place. He had not made his pit stop yet. Now, who's going to stop? Who's going to pit?
Good question. Yeah, will they stop again? They just stopped, but will they do it again?
Just stop. Will they?
We know that the 37 car of John Andretti will because he hadn't.
Yeah, that's right. Never see Jeff Burton has been able to get his car moving and head back towards the pits. There he is.
Another car that had not pitted was Dick Trickle. Yeah, pretty heavy contact there on the inside wall by Jeff Burton, but he's able to drive the Ray Bestis car to the pit area.
The right front's gone flat now.
Yeah. Here it is once again.
This is in slow motion as Earnhardt gets up under Burton, and Burton a little bit high, loses control, smacks him all with the wall with the rear. Now the front, as he comes off, he tries to keep going straight, but he can't do it and spins right in front of Rusty. Now he jams on the brakes and slams into the brakes.
Now, Rusty thought the best way to avoid this thing would be to go to the inside, and it almost cost him because Burton slid to the inside.
And we see the roof flaps come up, slow the car down.
Our first caution period of the race comes with less than 30 laps to go. There's John Andretti flanking off and making the pit stop, not unexpectedly, and so is Dick Trickle, who had not made his fourth and final scheduled pit stop. The Little Caesars Kmart Ford comes in for Jeff Andretti. Gary Gerald is right there.
Members of the team told us moments ago, Bob, they said, we've been doing this all year, but it's the first time we actually got a break on the yellow. So they're excited about that. The rest of the field now streaming by as John gets serviced under the watchful eye of both Michael Franovis and Carl Haas, who's here with familiar cigar in hand. The routine service all the way around. Oh, may have stalled the engine for a moment. Now it roars back to life. We continue to watch, and we'll see if he can put this to good use. If he'll step back out to join the pack-up.
There's Michael Franovis, co-owner of John Andretti's car, former director of special vehicle operations for Ford Motor Company, and Dick Trickle pulls out just ahead of John Andretti. We're under caution for the first time at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the second Brickyard 400. Leading Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, and Sterling Marlin, your top five. And it'll be a couple of more laps before they go back to racing. And it could be a dash to the finish here because we're already 134 laps into this event. And, of course, the distance is 160. Jack has an update on Jeff Gordon.
Well, remember, guys, Jeff Gordon had the advantage of trying out that new setup before this caution flag came in. It's not to his liking. He is radioed in to Ray Evernham. This is the worst car I've driven since the Daytona race. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Yesterday in the final, in fact, the only practice session, Dale Earnhardt said the car felt pretty good, but when he tried to hustle the car, it got very, very uncomfortable. He told the guys, we need to fix the car. So this morning, Andy Petrie and the Goodrich crew changed about everything. They changed springs, they changed shocks, they changed track bar height. They even adjusted the front fenders and said, now all that work is going to come to bear. We're going to see if what we did will make a difference when we try to hustle the cars these last 26 laps. Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Robin Pemberton calling the shots for Rusty Wallace. It had been error-free, a great day until a very close call there. What did he say in the radio?
Nobody said a word. Don Miller, the spotter, said a little action in the backstretch over there, and it was close enough that Rusty could see it, but that's about the only conversation we've had all day long.
All right, so how do you play it now as it looks like we're going to make this run for the big gold here at Indy?
Yeah, the 94 is good. There's a lot of good cars out there. You know, the green flag stops kind of separate them. And we got an awful good car today. I just hope we got the best tires on for the money laps here. It's going to be an awful good race.
We'll watch it and we'll enjoy. That's Robin Pemberton keeping a close watch with his driver, Rusty Wallace.
And the Budweiser blimp is floating about 1,000 feet above the speedway with its eye in the sky camera. There's the Bud 1 airship.
See the golf course there, the Brickyard crossings?
Oh, yeah.
Played there Tuesday.
I was going to ask if you did.
Yep,
How'd you do? Or do you not want to talk about it?
That's a nice blimp we got there.
This is looking back on the field for the Chevrolet Pace truck. The first time in Speedway history that a truck has paced a field for a race.
You know, all those people were late getting here, but none of them has left yet.
No, they're sticking around. They're going to watch the last 25 laps of this event. Let's take a look at how they stack up. Earnhardt, Wallace, Elliott, Gordon, and Sterling Marlin are your top five. Then Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin, Bobby Hamilton, Rick Mast, and Bobby Labonte. Here's Jack Arute.
Well, we caught up with Jeff Burton. Jeff, what happened out there?
Well, the 3 car was coming up pretty quick. He had on new tires, and he ran up on me really quick, and he didn't ever hit me, I don't think. We just kind of took the air off the spoiler, and I just lost it. We were running real hard. It's a shame because I was going to pit the next lap, and we had a good race car. We had a top 15 race car, and I don't know, it's my fault. Nobody put mine. I have to say sorry to Ray Besses and everybody because we had a good show going, just I messed up.
Benny, it takes quite a driver to admit when he messes up.
It does that. And we are just a few seconds away from the resumption of this race. We'll be back for it in a moment.
Monty Ted Musgrave, Morgan Shepherd, Dick Trickle, John Andretti, Darrell Waltrip, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Kenny Schrader, and Ricky Rudd. Those cars on the lead lap. We see Rudd right behind the pace car. He is right on the tail end of the lead lap.
20 cars on the lead lap as we are a half a lap away from the resumption of this race. It will be 24 laps to go when they take the green flag. The leader is Dale Earnhardt.
Man.
Dale Earnhardt has, of course, worked all of his racing career to chalk up a victory in the Daytona 500 and has never been able to do so. Can he chalk up a win here at the Brickyard 400 this year? Well, we'll answer that question in about 24 more laps.
You know, there's a 28 car, Dale Jarrett. Remember how well he ran at Pocono? He may have something for these guys because this was a huge break for a lot of cars. Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon had fallen back because of pit stops. And 28 started so far back, they're all in the hunt right now.
About 20 to 7 local time here. Nobody's ever seen cars on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this late in the day. Another little record. Hope it's not a tradition. Oh, isn't that the truth? Well, we got 24 laps to go, 60 miles to the checkered flag, and a decision on who walks into victory lane at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the second Brickyard 400. We're back to green racing again.
Ward Burton down in the corner.
I thought I saw some smoke, Benny. I think they touched. Ward Burton and Dale Earnhardt.
It was awfully close. Rusty Wallace trying to get to the inside. Elliott is able to do it. But Earnhardt now has got a 15-car length advantage on Wallace.
He head down the backstretch and then he had to fan out and pick up positions. Let's take a look at that again, Benny. I think you'll find that there was some contact as Earnhardt tried to call.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Boy, that was close. Man, oh, man.
Cut across the bow of the 31 car and made some contact.
And Dale Jarrett was able to get by Jeff Gordon down the backstretch.
Gordon was right. He has a bad race car, or what appears to be an ill-handling race car at the moment.
Rusty Wallace on the inside of Ward Burton, trying to catch Earnhardt, the leader of the race.
And now there are no cars between first and second. The car leading right now at this line of cars is the number 10 car of Ricky Rudd, and he is in 20th position, the last car on the lead lap. There is the leader, and the second place, Rusty Wallace. And there are no cars between them now. And there's Bill Elliott trying to work his way around Ward Burton. Bill is third. Earnhardt, it looks like, has pulled away a little bit from Rusty as Elliott continues to work on Ward Burton. And here is Earnhardt trying to pass Ricky Rudd now, and Elliott going to the inside and completing the pass on Ward.
I think that Ward just moved over and let Bill Elliott go by. Since Elliott was on the lead lap and trying to catch these cars, he said, go ahead, Bill.
And indeed, Dale Earnhardt was able to pass Ricky Rudd, and so Rudd is a lap down in 20th. 19 cars on the lead lap, and just as importantly, it puts a car between first and second.
You see Dale Jarrett trying to get by Mike Wallace. He now is the 1, 2, 3, 4th place car.
Jarrett is 4th. Jeff Gordon is 5th. Marlin is 6th. Mark Martin 7th. Rick Mast 8th. Bobby Labonte 9th. And Bobby Hamilton is running 10th. Here's Marlin making a move down the front straightaway. As from overhead, we see first and second separated by Ricky Rudd. And now Rusty Wallace will go to the outside of Rudd in the short chute between 1 and 2. And now again, there are no cars between first and second.
Once again, that was a move that Ricky Rudd, being the gentleman that he is, moved over and did not impede the progress of Rusty Wallace. Neither did he impede the progress of Dale Earnhardt.
There are 12.4 seconds separating the first 19 cars. We'll keep a close watch on whether or not Rusty Wallace is closing in on Dale Earnhardt. It appears as if he is. Chevy against Ford. Earnhardt in the Chevy, Wallace in the Ford. Once again, your top 5 nearing the conclusion of the Brickyard 411 laps to go. And Rusty Wallace catch Dale Earnhardt, or will the 7-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion be able to win this race? We will know in just a few more laps. Stay with us for more of the Brickyard 400 from Indianapolis. With 20 laps to go in the Brickyard 400, Dale Earnhardt leading Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Gordon.
And Rusty Wallace is gaining. There's no doubt about it. He's gaining on Earnhardt. Elliott is not able to close up. As a matter of fact, he has a challenge from the rear from Dale Jarrett. And Jarrett.
They've got a battle of their own going on.
That's for third place.
Great run for Dale Jarrett here this afternoon. Elliott will go to the outside of Ricky Rudd. Rudd again moving over and letting the faster cars pass without any debate whatsoever.
Rusty Wallace is just a couple of car lengths, just 2 car lengths behind Dale Earnhardt, and it might be 1.
Wallace closing in on Dale Earnhardt for the lead of the Brickyard 400. They're in turn 2, headed down the backstretch right now. 18 more laps to go, actually about 17 and a half right now. Gary Gerald has a report on Rusty Wallace.
I'm just interested in Benny's and your observations, Bob, on the fact that Rusty revealed this week, that he was concerned about Chevy's dominance this year in Winston Cup, having won 14 of 18. They built up a Chevy to go to the wind tunnel to try to find out why they had the advantage, and maybe they could incorporate it into the Ford bodywork. Is it paying off right now? That's what I'm wondering.
Good point. Yep. I had no idea. I read in the paper this week that Rusty and the crew had built in Monte Carlo.
Yeah, I think that was a surprise to everybody. Watching now the battle for third position between Bill Elliott and Dale Jarrett.
Well, today we've seen 2 really great charges from back in the field. One of them is that 28 car of Dale Jarrett, who started 26 and now runs 4th. The other one, of course, is in fact Rusty Wallace, who started 24th and now chases Dale Earnhardt in 2nd place.
You can see there's 17 laps to go. Can Rusty Wallace catch Dale Earnhardt? Hey, he was right on his back bumper. Now he's 6-8 car lengths behind Dale Earnhardt.
Yes, indeed. Earnhardt has pulled away from Rusty Wallace, but the battle for third continues to be a good one as Dale Jarrett continues to hound that 94 car of Bill Elliott. Now there are 16 laps to go.
He is on the back bumper. He ran a great line off that second corner. Stayed a little bit lower than Elliott, and obviously a little lower is better if you can use the throttle the way you want to. Here they come. come down the front straightaway. Once again, crossing the start-finish line. Earnhardt, Wallace, Elliott, and Jarrett.
Back in 5th position and not a factor at the moment is Jeff Gordon. So it appears as if right now that Gordon's quest to win 2 in a row here in Indianapolis and do it from the pole position this year, picking up $7,600 in unit count bonus money, will not come true. But let's wait for another 15 laps to make that statement for sure.
And Mark Martin has quietly moved into 6th spot in the Valvoline Ford.
Jarrett got a good run off of Bill Elliott there in the corner.
The car is really working. That Texaco car working awfully well off the corner.
He can capitalize right here.
He's got a great run.
Yeah, he does. Maybe he'll slingshot around here after he picks up a little bit of the draft.
Can't make it.
Nope. So now the laps wind down with 15 to go in Indianapolis with Dale Earnhardt leading. Indianapolis, after a day of rain, we're down to the final 14 laps of competition in the Brickyard 400. It's Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace running 1st and 2nd, and this battle for 3rd, Elliott and Jarrett. Elliott holding on to that 3rd spot, but once again, Dale Jarrett gets a good run in the 3rd corner, but cannot capitalize.
Well, Jarrett's car is working so well. You see Rusty Wallace still not able to catch Earnhardt. Looks like he has closed the gap a little bit. He's just a couple of car lengths behind. There's 3rd and 4th, and there's no gap between those 2 cars.
They are right together. Well, of course, Dale Earnhardt would add his 66th career win if he can take it home today. Rusty Wallace would win his 41st NASCAR Winston Cup race. And almost as importantly, Roger Penske would get credit for another victory in Indianapolis. He has 10 in the Indy 500. So it'll be the 11th win for Roger Penske here at the famed Brickyard.
Ooh, Elliott wiggled a little bit.
Yeah, he has several times out at the north end there.
And he missed a corner, almost totally missed that corner. And Jarrett capitalized, we'll see.
See the 19 car still on the lead lap. Now less than 13 circuits to go. And Jarrett is able to get the left side of that car under the line several times, as if to say, I can beat you off the corner, but he has not been able to do so as yet. But now he may have the job done off of the 2nd corner and down the backstretch. Jarrett passes Bill Elliott for 3rd spot.
Man, he tried and he tried. He finally got the job done.
So Dale Jarrett now moves to 3rd position, and Bill Elliott goes back to 4th. Jarrett has his sights set up ahead. The back end of Rusty Wallace's car and Dale Earnhardt's.
Man, these cars are evenly matched. This is what NASCAR's been looking for, about juggling with the rules, trying to find a balance between the Ford and the Chevrolet so that we can come down with 10 laps to go and be running nose to tail and have no idea who's going to win.
Dale Earnhardt started this race in 13th position. A qualifying speed of 170.775. Rusty Wallace started the race in 24th spot at 170.052. Benny, despite the fact that this is Hoosier land and well north of the Mason-Dixon line, they got a tremendous following for Dale Earnhardt in Indianapolis.
You got that right. Everywhere we go, they got a great following for Dale Earnhardt.
And Gary Gerald has a report on Dale Jarrett, who's moved to 3rd.
In that 3rd spot, as the crew became aware of the pass on the front straightaway, you could see the grim nods of satisfaction, but their business business isn't done. Robert Yates says we had a long way to go. We still got a long way to go. In 10 laps, I'm not sure if we can get there, but boy, they sure are hoping that those two guys up front will make a little wiggle, and Jarrett can make it a three-way battle.
And you can bet that Dale Jarrett is going to be giving it everything he has got. We'll get a clock on this particular battle and see if indeed Dale Jarrett is closing in on second place Rusty Wallace. But he's running out of laps, Benny.
9 to go when Earnhardt crosses the line. In just a second, 9 laps to go.
The interval from second to third is 1.7 seconds, and it has been for the last 4 laps, so it's a stable interval. Jerry Punch has a report on Dale Earnhardt.
I just spoke with Richard Childress, the car owner. He said, you know, we've got 2 evenly matched cars, a Chevrolet and a Ford. Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, 2 of the best in the business. It's all going to come down to concentration. He has gone and told everyone in his crew, don't say a word on the radio. No one talk. No one say a word. I want Dale's total concentration on these final laps.
Dale Earnhardt, 2 wins in 1995 at North Wilkesboro on the short track and the Sears Point Road Course. Back for the finish of the Brickyard in just a moment. In the second Brickyard 400, it's still a tremendous battle up front between Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, and the interval is just a couple of car lengths.
Rusty just cannot get past that. He can't get up on the back bumper of Earnhardt. I think he feels like if he get there and get right on the back bumper, he might get Earnhardt just a little bit loose, but he can't get there. He's tried, and Dale Jarrett, I think, is gaining, Bob. Has he enough time?
Dale Earnhardt will be very, very difficult to pass in these last 7 laps. He comes down to complete lap 153. And yes, indeed, Benny, Dale Jarrett is within just a few car lengths now of Rusty Wallace in 3rd spot.
1.1 seconds we have with a handheld stopwatch up here. That's 0.6 of a second closer than just a couple of laps ago. I think he's going to catch him. I think that Jarrett is going to get up there and make this a 3-car race.
It is a 2-car battle at the moment. But Dale Jarrett closes in quickly on second place, Rusty Wallace.
And remember how well this 28 car ran at Pocono, and I'd almost bet you that's the same car he won with there.
Yes, indeed it is. Jerry Punch has more on Dale Jarrett.
Well, Benny, answering your question, not only is it the same race car, it's the same everything. The crew said we are so superstitious. Doug Yates told me we brought the exact same engine. We just rebuilt it, freshened it up a little bit. We said we want the same car, the same engine, the same everything, and maybe we'll have the same result.
Well, they're close.
They are close.
Time will tell in 6 more laps.
And Pocono was a huge victory for Dale Jarrett. And the victory might have been worth more than this race pays today. But still, $600,000 is a lot of money that could be going for.
Dale Jarrett, 4 career wins in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, including the one at Pocono just a few weeks ago. The crowd is still here, Benny. They are on their feet, wondering which of these 3 it will be. Earnhardt, Wallace, or Jarrett.
Well, look at Jarrett.
And a report that Ward Burton, big puff of smoke.
He's lost an engine. Well, I sure hope there's no oil down the corner that causes a caution flag.
Well, he's getting on the warm-up lane, so he's not putting any oil down on the track at the moment, at least in the groove. Tough break for Ward Burton, who was running in 21st position. There are 5 laps to go now as the top 3 go down the backstretch once again.
I tell you what, if Dale Jarrett can get by Rusty without too much trouble, depends on how much trouble he has passing. And Rusty Wallace is not supposed to lay over and play dead. You know, this is for second place. Watch as Dale Jarrett comes off the second and fourth corner. It's like a rocket ship when he comes off this corner.
He has been solid in those areas of the racetrack for the last several laps. Now here he is on the straightaway, ducking on the tail of Rusty Wallace. laps to go in the Brickyard 400.
Just over a half second from Earnhardt to Dale Jarrett.
Wow. It's almost 7 o'clock Indianapolis time, and they are still racing in the Brickyard 400, but we are about to conclude things.
I got to say that Martin has just passed Jeff Gordon for 5th place, so I thought I'd throw that in.
The defending champion drops back to 6th spot and is not a factor in this year's race. But he will undoubtedly take a $100,000 bonus for leading the point standings at the conclusion of this event.
4 laps to go.
Coming down now, Benny, for 3 laps to go.
Catch him. Looks like he's going to catch him in a good spot.
Yes.
You'll be able to get by. All the cars will be able to get by and not slow their progress. Earnhardt using all the racetrack coming off that corner. Trying to keep that car just as free as he possibly can as he exits the corner for maximum speed. Watch those people cheer as they go by.
They love Dale Earnhardt. They have their hats off and they're waving to him as he now enters the 4th corner and is about to complete the 158th lap, and there will be 2 more to go. And I don't think Earnhardt can be beat, Benny.
You don't think so, huh?
But what do you think? I stuck my neck out.
It doesn't look that way. It looks like he's not going to be able to be passed by either Wallace or Jarrett.
But don't forget the Daytona 500 not too long ago when Dale Jarrett was leading that race in the 3rd turn on the last lap and went over a bell housing on the racetrack and lost it.
And right now Earnhardt is having to use every inch of the racetrack to get the maximum speed out of his Chevrolet. Dale Jarrett closes up right on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace.
Dale Earnhardt will see the white flag come out this time around.
Turn 4. Here he comes, Bob.
Earnhardt sees Doyle Ford poised in the starter stand with the white flag indicating 1 lap to go. There it is. 2.5 miles to race in the second Brickyard 400. And Dale Jarrett takes a look to the inside of Rusty Wallace for second. And Dale Earnhardt would love to see that, because as long as those two are battling side by side, it gives Earnhardt a little bit of an advantage. They go through the second corner quickly, and now they're on to the backstretch for the final time in 1995 at Indianapolis. And the interval remains about the same. About 7 or 8 car lengths. Dale Earnhardt in command of the Brickyard 400 as he enters turn number 3. And there is no battle at the moment for second position as Dale Jarrett has settled back behind Rusty Wallace. And now for the final time, they come through corner number 4. Dale Earnhardt enters the straightaway and looks for the checkered flag this time. And he sees it. Dale Earnhardt has won the second Brickyard 400. GM Goodrich crew celebrates Dale Earnhardt's 66th victory in NASCAR Winston Cup competition and the richest purse in all of NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt has done it, beating Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, Bill Elliott, and Mark Martin. Lap. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, Andy Petrie, all those last-minute adjustments yesterday paid off.
Boy, it really did. I can't say enough about this whole team. We brought a new race car up here, and I can't say enough about the guys in the shop. Bobby Hudson, Jr., guys back there do a great job. All the guys in the engine room, Spinny Clendenin, all his guys. What about that pit crew? You know, that's the most incredible thing. We made up all of our time on the racetrack, a lot of it in the pits, and the other part on the racetrack. You know, the greatest race car driver in the world. What can you say?
Well, it's not the Daytona 500, but it's got to feel awfully good.
Yeah, it sure does. And I tell you, I really feel good for GM Goodrich. They deserve to have a win like this.
That's Andy Petrie, the crew chief, as the crew now takes off at a sprint toward victory lane.
Wow,
Well, as Dale Earnhardt rolls down toward winner's circle, this is it, your last chance to win. The winner of the Brickyard 400 is Dale Earnhardt. So write Dale Earnhardt down on your Budweiser Fast Track Sweepstakes game card and send it in. You can race off to next year's Brickyard 400 along with other events. We want to thank you for playing, and remember to send in your game card. It's been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. No purchase necessary. Must be 21 or older to enter. See the official rules for details. So Dale Earnhardt becomes the second winner of the Brickyard 400, and he pulls up into winner's circle just in front of the master control tower here as the sun begins to set in Indianapolis. Let's go to Jen.
Well, the first thing that Dale Earnhardt said on the radio after he crossed the start-finish line here to win the Brickyard 400 to his crew is, "You did a great job, guys." The second thing, "I guess I'm not too old yet to win here at Indianapolis." Taking some brick juice now, trying to get his composure back, because this was a long day, not only for his crew, but for Dale Earnhardt. But there's the classic Earnhardt smile. The man in black is just waiting to exit the car to the cheers of some 300,000 people that have assembled this afternoon to witness the second annual Brickyard 400. Now Earnhardt's got the helmet off, and he'll be exiting the car shortly. This is unbelievable. Dale Earnhardt brings a totally new car here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and finds his way to victory lane. Now he gets out of the car to the cheers of the assembled throng and the congratulations of his crew. Dale, you've won the PPG Cup. You're the winner of the Brickyard 400. You said on the radio to your crew, "I guess I'm not too old to win here."
Well, I tell you, Chevrolet and Jim Goodrich done a great job. I tell you, Richard and all the guys back at the shop, in the fab shop, I can't thank them enough. Put a great race car together, a brand new car. Just had about 40 laps of practice on her before the race. To go out and win this race with this car is great.
What a gamble for you guys, though. Like yesterday, making all of those changes, having to battle with the weather, and not really sure whether you're even going to get some practice to shake it down.
Well, we even made some changes this morning, I'll be honest with you, but this race car, his crew, they are to beat when they're right, and they was right today. I was better out front than it was.
Getting the congratulations from Mary George.
I was better out front than it was behind, and when I got behind, it was push, and it just wouldn't go as good. I go out front, and it was real good. I could go better out front, so that's the place I wanted to be. We beat them out of pits there, on that green flag stop, and into caution, we had track position. So
you had a close call out there, though.
Yeah, the 8 car wrecked in front of us.
And there's Richard Childress coming in to congratulate his driver. And this is the celebration. We're tangled up in the cord. And one of the things that is a tradition here with the PPG Cup for winning the Brickyard 400 is a special commemorative silver brick. And the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Tony George, is here to make the presentation. And I know you've been waiting for one of these. Tony?
Dale, congratulations. Well-deserved victory, and I know what we talked about earlier, and we'll both forget that conversation. I'm happy to present you with this PPG trophy commemorating your win today.
Well, thank you, Tony. Y'all got a great family and a great racetrack tradition up here. I'm glad I'm the second man that won, if not the first. We really appreciate it. And NASCAR, I guarantee you NASCAR is happy to be here.
Now, what about the Daytona 500? You haven't won that one, but now you can walk around and say, "Hey, man, I've won Indianapolis."
Yeah, and just 2 of us have done it. Well, you know, it's a pretty neat deal. We've never won the Daytona 500, but the Brickyard's a special race. I think it's the next to it, so we'll take it.
Let's go back to the tower.
The PPG trophy, Dale Earnhardt, his 66th career win, 41st on a super speedway. Second winner of the Brickyard.
There we go. The second, third, fourth, and fifth place cars are now been impounded by NASCAR officials. Rusty Wallace, you gave it one heck of a drive, and you were stalking, just not quite enough to get past that Intimidator. He's tough when he's in the lead, isn't he?
Yeah, I tell you, the car was great. It was really ran strong, 24th to the lead. I screwed up qualified. I told him not to pay attention to that, but what really killed me, I left pit area and 2 cars wrecked in front of me on pit road. I had to stop,
they let Earnhardt get in front of me. That was the race right there. But that's racing. That's what things are all about. I would like to get in front of them because I don't think they got around me.
You said that you had built a Chevy and taken it to the tunnel and did some testing to see if you could incorporate benefits into that Ford. How much of that paid off today with this second-place finish?
Well, the Ford's pretty good. I just want to know where we were at. I was tired of getting jerked around by all the Chevy guys telling me how bad the car was. So we just built one and found out for ourselves and found out it was a pretty good car. But I'm happy with the Thunderbird. I'm happy with the Penske Racing team, with Roger Penske and the whole team, the engine department, Miller Genuine Draft Mobile, Fleetwood, Stevens Aviation, all of them that really supported us. The Goodyear tires were perfect today, but, I mean, you got to admit, my guys' did a pretty good job getting that thing from 24th to 1st, and hopefully I drove it okay.
It was one of the great stories, of course, through this race. How tough was it in terms of the long, long wait, and for most of the day looking like you were going to be racing tomorrow as opposed to late this evening?
Well, I really wanted to get home. I've been on the road for a long time. I've been away from Patty and the kids, and it's just about time to get back right now. I'm about burned down, sleeping in hotel rooms and stuff like that. But it's all over now. We did get the race in, and I'm happy. The racetrack was wonderful. The place was packed full of people, and neat deal. We'll do it again next year. Maybe I can win it next time.
All right. He almost got number 41. He has to be content with second. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
And just behind you, we have Dale Jarrett, who just climbed out of the Texaco Havoline Ford. And Dale, we talk about great runs today. How about 26th to 3rd? What an effort.
Yeah, we really had a good run today. I tell you, this Texaco Havoline Mac Tools team did a fantastic job. We had to adjust on the car all day. They did that. They had great pit stops, and I just had a fantastic car and engine. And, you know, it was a lot of fun. I just wish I could have got them there at the end. I could run them down, but I would pick up a little bit of a push behind them, so that hurt me.
It looked like your car toward the end just came rocketing out of turn 2. I mean, no one looked like could run with you on the straightaways.
Yeah, that's why they call it the Rocket, you know, Robert Yates engine there. And you get it hooked up and freed up, it'll really run well. And, you know, I could do it until I got right behind them, and then I'd pick up that push. And, you know, we had a good run, just not quite enough for them. Congratulate Dale and Rusty on their runs, and thank God for a safe day and a clear day finally in the end.
What a way to begin the second half of the year. A win at Pocono, second at Talladega, third. The year should have begun for you, but you just had bad luck every time you turned around.
Yeah, I kept telling me if we could get past those first 4 or 5 laps, we could show that we had a good race team. Of course, it'd help if I could qualify a little better, and we wouldn't be in that position. But we'll work on that. But the guys just continue to work hard, and yeah, this is the way it's supposed to go. So I think we'll be a factor in a lot more races before this year's out.
Dale, you know, news this week that Ernie possibly might have a chance to come back next year. I know that's good news for you and the entire team, because you came over just for 1 year basically to fill in for Ernie. Any thoughts on what now may be your direction for 96? And a lot of people are going to want you, and particularly the way this thing's going now. I mean, everyone and their brother wants Dale Jarrett.
Well, it's good to be wanted. Wasn't like that too long ago, but you know, these guys kept the faith in me. And you know, right now we're working towards my own team. We're negotiating with a sponsor, and you know, hopefully these type of runs will help, and that's what we'll do. And we certainly hope Ernie gets back and can be in this. It's just going to be hard to race against this car, but I know that's coming, and we'll all be glad to see Ernie back in it.
Some vindication for frustration a year ago by the car number 28. This time Dale Jarrett gives it a ride from 26th to 3rd.
And what a terrific run. There over in winner's circle, Dale Earnhardt is celebrating his victory in the Brickyard 400. We're going to take a look now at the full field rundown. They averaged 155.109 miles an hour. That, of course, is a new race record for the Brickyard 400. It ended with that classic Chevrolet versus Ford deal. And at the end, it was the GM Goodwin Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt running from 13th position up to the front of the field and taking the checkered flag. Rusty Wallace had a great run, too. Started 24th and finished up in 2nd place. So at a record pace, a race that we thought would never run has finished in the sunset of Indianapolis. And still there are fairly clear skies overhead and a beautiful view of the downtown about 6 miles away from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So the second Brickyard 400 goes into the record book as we round out the look at the full field summary and unofficial results for this second running of the Brickyard 400. So when we come back, some final thoughts on the Brickyard 400 and Dale Earnhardt's victory here today. Today's Speed World coverage of the Brickyard 400 has been brought to you by General Motors Service Parts Operations and their GM Goodrich and AC Delco Automotive Service Parts. By Chevrolet, one car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR. Genuine Chevrolet. By Delco Electronics, official sponsor of the Brickyard 400. And by Beechwood Aged Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you. We take a look down from the Bud 1 airship, 194 feet long, floating over the Master Control Tower at Indianapolis. That, by the way, is 2/3 of the length of a football field. Jeff Gordon started on the pole, but this was not his day, Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, the magic of a year ago did not repeat today, Jeff Gordon, and we know you were not happy with the way the car was handling. How tough was it for you today?
Well, at this place, you're on a fine line between tight and loose, and it just seemed like every time we adjusted, we'd get too tight or too loose, and every time I was running another car, just, couldn't really get in the gas. But, hey, we're happy. DuPont Chevrolet ran good at the beginning of the race. We led some laps. I just heard some good news from RJ Reynolds that we are leading the points, so we get that $100,000 bonus. So that doesn't hurt, but, I don't know. Just there at the end, we kind of had a pit stop that, pushed a little bit behind, but we just didn't have anything for those guys at the end. And we're kind of scratching our heads ourselves right now where we actually lost the handling. But we're real happy with the 6th place finish. We're sorry we didn't repeat. This is a big race, and we sure would like to have won it. But Earnhardt did a great job holding those boards off, so, I got to congratulate him.
Enjoy that $100,000 bonus. Congratulations here on the top 5.
Thanks a lot.
Let's go to Jack.
Well, Gary, you heard in the middle of the race this man, Bill Elliott, say he had a perfect race car, but then you had a problem with the pedals.
Well, the brake pedal got to hanging down, and I got to run out of brake between lap 80 and 100. And I kind of had to start slowing down, getting in the corner, and I really couldn't run like I wanted to run. It just became a situation of survival. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dale and Rusty and Dale Jarrett ran awful good at the end of the race. I don't know if I could have beat them under the best circumstances. The car got a little tight there at the end. But, I mean, we had a great day. And, I mean, we came out of here our best finish of the year. It was one place we wanted to strive and run well, for McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Amoco, Reese's, up forward, all the guys. I mean, we come out of here with a good finish and a good momentum for the rest of the season.
Well, that's what he needs, some momentum. Let's check in with Jerry Punch.
Well, Mark Martin, from 14th to 5th, a consistent run pays off for you.
Well, it was like winning for us. We were off today with a Valvoline car, and we were a little bit faster than almost all of them, but there was a few of them that made it better, and we had a long green spell and got up to 5th.
After banging the wall early in the week, Paul, he's able to come back and get a top 5 finish, and like he said, it's almost like a victory for the Valvoline team.
All right, so Jeff Gordon finishes in 6th, Mark Martin 5th, then Elliott, Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, and, of course, Dale Earnhardt takes the win. Average speed at 155.109. 17 different lead changes among 11 different leaders, and 1 caution lap. We thought we weren't going to get that one in. That one Jeff Burton got against the wall. So we take a look now at how the points are. Well, they really remain, for the most part, unchanged, but, boy, this is a terrific and very tight battle. Jeff Gordon recognizes he leads the points right now, followed by Sterling Martin and Dale Earnhardt as they came into this race. Remainder of those Winston Cup points. Great call once again. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons.
Thank you, Paul. Well, the magic that is Indianapolis is over for another year. The Speedway, for the most part, will sit silent now until the Indianapolis 500 in May. But I'll tell you, after seeing 2 Brickyard 400s, I can't wait for 365 days, Benny, and we'll be doing it again.
Dale Earnhardt deserved to win this race today. He deserved the money. But, I mean, how can we call Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett and Bill Elliott losers? We have to, because they in fact lost, but it's a shame that we have to do that because they made such great runs.
Well, there's a sight that you have never seen at Indianapolis, the setting sun on Winner's Circle as Dale Earnhardt has taken the victory. Coming up next here on ESPN, the LPGA McCall's Classic. So stay with us for that. The sun begins now to set over Indianapolis, and this crowd, with this tremendous patience, has been rewarded with a fine run, a record run, and a superlative win. Once Dale Earnhardt got out in front, he was the dominant power, the dominator. Once again, the intimidator.
chose his way now at the Brickyard. We thank you all for joining us here as Dale Earnhardt takes the PPG Trophy. I'm Paul Page for Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Jack Arute, Gary Gerald, and Jerry Punch. Thanks for joining us.